On today's special episode of Homeworthy, we're taking you inside the vintage-filled, dreamy homes of some very stylish first-time homeowners. First, we head to Largo, Florida, to visit a beautiful space filled with secondhand treasures, vintage charm, and unique DIY projects. Next, we're off to Little Rock, where a serene 1932 cottage brims with personality and eclectic style. Then it's on to Nashville, where we peek inside a designer's cozy home full of charm and thrifted finds. After that, we head to Los Angeles, where a 1920s Craftsman perfectly blends vintage character with personal touches. Finally, we're in Houston, visiting a content creator's dream home, filled with vintage finds and meaningful artwork. You're watching Homeworthy, where we believe every home has a story.
Hi Homeworthy, my name is Ava. Welcome to my home in Largo, Florida. Come on in, I can't wait to show you around.
You're watching Homeworthy, where we believe every home has a story. If you're looking to make your own space more homeworthy, we've teamed up with Cherish, our go-to online destination for chic, one-of-a-kind finds, sourced from the world's most wonderful vendors.
Mercury drops are from an artist I found on Cherish.
Whether we're after a bold statement piece or the perfect finishing touch, Cherish has extraordinary items that leave a lasting impression.
This table I bought on Cherish from Berlin, and it has a little bit of it's a tray, and it is mid-century, and it's one of my favorite pieces.
It's where we find iconic looks to set homes apart.
I think many dealers would agree that Cherish is the absolute best.
So to support Homeworthy and discover amazing items from Cherish, scan the QR code or click on the link below to start shopping.
Hello, my name is Ava Russo. I'm a civil engineer. Welcome to my home in Largo, Florida. So this home was built in 1928. We got actually pretty lucky with it. It had really good bones. A lot of the updates were just cosmetic. It has a lot of character to it, so we've just been trying to bring the character back. When we first viewed this house, honestly, a lot of the appeal was the real hardwood floors, molding, things along that line. I always knew I wanted to live in an old house, so when we were looking at other houses, anything over 1980 was just out for me. So when we saw the year it was built, the curb appeal of it, and just the updates that had already been made, I knew this was for sure the one. My personal style is definitely more of an antique vintage look, traditional. My parents actually, I grew up in a house where our entire house was collected, either antiques, thrift stores, or just hundreds-year-old furniture. So I definitely got my style from them. I get a lot of my decorating from Facebook Marketplace, thrift stores, and things like that. So I'm definitely more traditional, cozy, collected style. Welcome to the living room. I'll first start out by saying this has been our most recent project. We added these beams about 2 weeks ago. Actually turned out a lot better than the other beams we did in other rooms. And then we also did the crown molding along the entire side. One of the other most recent things we've done to this room is this brick chimney chute. It actually is a real chimney chute. There's not a fireplace in this house, but it was for, I believe, HVAC or something like that was what the chimney chute was used for. And if you actually go on the outside of the house, you can see the brick coming from the top. So the goal was to kind of restore this to look how it did back when it was built. So I was able to find these bricks on Facebook Marketplace for a very good deal. So we added those and added grout, and I think it really just adds a lot of warmth to this room. Between this and the beams, kind of giving like a Nancy Meyers meets Ralph Lauren, which is actually one of my favorite styles. Also, something that we recently did was this picture frame on the TV. I know you can buy picture frame TVs for an insane amount of money, so I figured I might as well just make my own. We just used the leftover molding from this room, stained it, and then used elastic to attach it to the TV, and then just put on a art from YouTube and it looks like a picture. So this actually is probably one of the few things in this house that is not vintage or antique. This is something that I bought new, which is pretty crazy for me, but I do really love it. I feel like it kind of has a mid-century modern vibe and kind of adds a little bit of newness to all the oldness in here. And all this artwork has all been thrifted. I got it from one of my favorite thrift stores in the area called More Than a Store. Yeah, so other than that, some books. I love decorating with books. It's my favorite thing. It's so easy and just makes a home feel actually lived in. I would say my favorite thing on this console table is definitely this piece right here. I got this at my favorite thrift store. It was, I think, $3, which is crazy, but it's an original and it came with this frame that I just think is absolutely beautiful. So this is definitely one of my favorite art pieces in general. This coffee table, actually, I've been looking for a new coffee table for this space because we had just gotten these 2 new couches and the coffee table we had here just wasn't really working. So I've been looking for a long wooden kind of traditional style coffee table and I just could not find one that was less than $400. So I figured I could just make my own. So I actually made this coffee table a couple weeks ago and it was my first completely solo wood project. I normally have my boyfriend do all the building, but I did this one myself and it was very, very easy. I think I did it in like 3 hours and now I'm actually kind of obsessed with making tables. I made 3 more. But I used the same stain on here that I did for the beams, so just to tie everything together. To style this table, more books, as I mentioned, I'm obsessed with books. I probably have close to 100 books in this house. Taper candles are always easy to add. These were thrifted, both of these glass holders. Also this actually was something that was bought new, but I do love it. It's kind of like a little bookend. I think I got it from Hobby Lobby, which is crazy that I didn't thrift it, but I still love her. So this space has actually just been recently redone too. I had a large wooden table here that I think was just taking up too much space, so I wasn't sure if I wanted to do some sort of hutch or keep it like a breakfast nook. But this marble top actually was the top to our previous coffee table. And I love it. I think it's a beautiful piece of marble. It's from Portugal. It's very old. So I wanted to somehow still incorporate it into this room. So I was able to find this base on Facebook Marketplace and it matches the top perfectly. Kind of just looks like it was put together. So I was able to do that and then added a bench in the back to complement that. These chairs were also thrifted. Very beautiful. I love these chairs. And then one of my more recent finds is this picture. This oil painting I got from Facebook. I looked more into it. It's actually an original Charles Fritz, which some of his pieces go for up to $30,000. So when I found out on Facebook for $80, I was very, very excited. Not that I would ever sell it, but I love finding art pieces for way less than they're worth. It's one of my favorite things ever, actually. This rug, it's actually a funny story. It took me so long to find a rug that I actually liked and that was big enough size for this room. So I finally found this rug. I can't even remember the company I got it from, but once I ordered it, I got no tracking information, nothing, no sort of confirmation, and I just accepted that I was gonna get scammed. 100%, reached out to the bank, said it's not happening, and sure enough, 2 weeks later, it just showed up, and it was perfect. So very happy about that, but yeah, did not think that was gonna work out for me. So this chair, actually, there's 2 of these. These are from my parents' house. They had different fabric on them. The fabric that was on it when my parents owned them was ripped apart from my cats and just not in good shape. So I got these reupholstered. A little bit wear and tear from my own cat, but definitely looking better than they did before. And then this footrest I thrifted as well. I got it from a thrift store down the street from me that I love. And I added this fabric to the top of it because the old one was really ripped. And something cool that I just recently found out about it is it opens, which I never knew, but now I do, so I can store things in there. These hardwood floors are original to the house. That was one of my requirements when we were looking for a house, is it needs to have real hardwood floors, even if they're in rough shape, which these are in some portions, but it's just having hardwood floors from 1928, you just really can't get that. I do love the warmth that they bring and just the authenticness of them. This actually I found from a flea market in Tampa a long time ago. I've had this since my very first apartment. I've kind of just taken it with me everywhere I've gone. It's kind of like a little hutch thing. It's where I store all my candles, but it just adds a nice pop of color to the room. These are actually new as well. I would say the few things that I do buy new are pillows, blankets, and things like that. It's kind of hard and kind of gross to thrift pillows in my opinion. But yeah, so I just recently got these. I thought they were very pretty for spring. I got my tulips. I always need to have tulips for at least March, April, May. And same with this lavender plant. Just feel like it really brings spring to the room. Same with these curtains. These are new. Just the floral adds a lot of patterns, springness. So I would say if you want to have a cozy living room, the main things are patterns, mixing patterns. You know, don't be scared just because you have a crazy pattern rug doesn't mean you can't have a patterned curtain, even pillows, you know, block prints. As long as the colors are all complementing, I don't think that you can really do too much when it comes to patterns. A lot of pillows, a lot of blankets. I have so many blankets everywhere, and just wood accents I feel like bring a lot of warmth to a living room. I feel like, as I said before, this living room's kind of a Nancy Meyers meets Ralph Lauren, and I feel like Nancy Meyers is so popular for aesthetic these days, and if you look at all of the movies from her, all of them just have so many different patterns. So I would say for sure it's a way to get a cozy living room. So this mirror I actually found on Facebook as well for very, very cheap, like $10. When I went to go pick it up, I was expecting it to be like this because of how cheap it was, but it is very large and I just feel like it fits this wall so well. So I've had this one for a couple years, and then recently I found that one over there in that corner at my favorite thrift store, and honestly they kind of look like they're matching sisters. The outside of them just matches perfectly, so I was very excited to find that, and I feel like it kind of just brings an elegance to this corner of the room as well. This table actually, it's a little bit funny. I have two of them. This base here is actually a coffin stand. I got those stands at the same place I had gotten that green buffet. My mom actually picked them out. When she took them out, I was like, what are you, crazy? Like, what am I going to do with these? And she's like, oh, make them into side tables. And I was like, that's not a bad idea. And they actually matched that buffet really well. So I did that. I've had these for about 2 years. The other one's actually in the front room. And I did post a video on them saying they were coffin stands, and people thought I was crazy and that our house was going to get cursed. But I don't really believe in that juju. And they look cute, so. I am a civil engineer. I graduated school 4 years ago, so I've been working for a firm in the area for about 4 years. I do think being an engineer kind of coincides well with the design aspect, and even doing the renovation parts when we build bookshelves or tables, having that engineering background is actually very helpful. And next, I would love to show you my kitchen. Welcome to my kitchen. One of the first things we did in this kitchen, we got very lucky. The cabinets that you see here came with the house and the color of the wall. So we did a lot, but a lot of it was just kind of cosmetic. When we first got the house, there was nothing here. I think they had a kitchen table, but it just seemed really out of place. And I pictured an island being here. So this island, we actually kind of made it ourselves. This is an antique dresser that I found on Facebook. If you look on this side, you can see its drawers. It just looks like an actual dresser. And we bought this butcher block and put it on top and stained it. And a lot of people, when they see this, they don't even think that it's a dresser. They just think it came with the house and it's an island. But we made this one ourselves, which is really cool and actually one of my favorite pieces in this room. We switched out the lighting. There was one kind of not so cute pendant light in the center here, and it just didn't really fit well with the room, so we split it into 3. I thrifted these light fixtures from thrift store down the street. That's my favorite, and we added these moldings at the top. We also switched out this light fixture, which isn't antique, but it looks like it is. But I saw it and I just thought it matched these windows so well, which these are original to the house. These windows, that was one of the appeals of this kitchen. When I saw it, I was just like, this has so much character. So when I saw that light, I was like, it's perfect, need to get it. Other than that, we switched out this sink. One of the only things that is very unfortunate about this kitchen is it doesn't have a dishwasher. So one of my requirements was that we have to have a good sink and a garbage disposal. So that was the first thing we did when we moved in. I switched out the, I don't even know, it was like a silver, just not a nice sink, to this really deep white porcelain one, and then switched out the faucet as well. And it just makes washing the dishes so much better. And I know I mentioned that I made my coffee table. This was another table that I made. I'm a little bit obsessed with making tables now, but I feel like it's just a nice little addition off the island for, you know, vegetables, herbs, whatever, just kind of clears up the space of the island. So honestly, like I said, making this table was not hard. This was my second one, so it went even quicker than the first one. The most expensive part are the legs and just finding legs that you like. Aside from that, I used, which is crazy to say, I used 3 screws in making this table. The rest of it was wood glue, which I'm sure if any carpenters watching, they're gonna say that's a bad idea, but they've held up pretty well. But yeah, I mean, not essentially, it truly wasn't that hard. Just for this base frame, I used wood glue, and then had a support on the underneath, and it's held up pretty well. So this copper rack we made just from Home Depot. We got this copper rail, and then these are actually all from my boyfriend's mom. She had a bunch of them in our garage that she wasn't wanting anymore, and I was like, I want this kitchen to be all copper. If you look around, there's copper everywhere. So she gave them to me, which was very sweet, and I feel like it kind of just brings more of like a European countryside kind of feel, and that was the vision with this space. Just, you know, a little bit cluttered. Definitely this kitchen is more of a maximalist aesthetic, I would say. And over here we have this cute little spice rack that I thrifted. Same with these pictures. I just thought that would be perfect in this kitchen. They're small and they actually have fruits and vegetables on them too. Another thing we actually switched out in this microwave and the stove and the fridge are the copper handles here, which was not intentional. I had this idea to wallpaper the fridge, which did not turn out well at all. But in doing that, I took off the fridge handles and I could not get them back on. So we didn't have fridge handles for about 6 months. And who would have thought new fridge handles are like $600, which is crazy. So we actually just bought copper piping from Home Depot, and these are now our new handles. So once we did that though, I was like, I need all the appliances to match. Then I did the same thing for the microwave and for the stove. And you know, even though these aren't my first choice in appliances, it does add a little bit cuter of a touch to them, I would say. Another thing we did is these floating shelves. When we bought the house, there was nothing here. It was just a big open space. I'm not sure if they used to have cabinets or what happened, but it needed something. So we did these floating shelves, which I think add a lot of warmth, and I always just loved open shelving. You can decorate it really cute. These paintings are from my parents' house. As I mentioned, my parents are antique collectors too, so every time I go there, I try and see what I can snag. But these are actually 2 of my favorite paintings, and I feel like they really make this corner. So these cabinets, we got very lucky. These were in the house before we bought it. It was one of the appeals that I had to this kitchen, and same with this countertop. But actually the previous owner of this house knocked on our door one day. I wasn't home, my boyfriend was home, and she just asked to take a look around. And he was like, sure, come in. And she came in the kitchen and she's like, oh, I'm so happy that you kept these cabinets and these countertops, because I guess she got them specially made for this house, which was really cool to hear that these were specially done, and I love them. I think that it really brings a French European countryside vibe, and it has this backing that's kind of like a wainscoting. So what I did to complement that was on this wall over here, I added the wainscoting here, kind of like a coat rack wall, but obviously we don't put coats here, it's in the kitchen. But this wall was completely blank when we moved in, and for a while I was trying to figure out what to do with it, and I just thought that adding this background would really complement well with these cabinets, and just another place that could be fun and redecorated for the seasons. I feel like the color green, a lot of people will say, is just a trend right now, but I love the color green and I always will, so I don't see myself ever getting sick of it, and I just feel like it's one of those colors that it's an earth tone, but it also gets away from the neutrals, but still has a warmth to it. It's actually one of the most popular comments I get is that people love the color of this kitchen, which I unfortunately don't know the name of it because it was already painted before we got here. Over here we have the coffee bar. I am an avid coffee drinker. I drink it every single day, that or my espresso machine. So this is just a space that I love to change for the holidays, you know, Christmas, I'll add garland, Halloween, things along those lines. I'm always changing around this space. These antique glass panels are actually from my parents' house as well, and I just thought they really go good with this area with the green and the copper. As I mentioned, I'm obsessed with copper. There's copper actually everywhere. If I see something copper and I don't even need it, I'll just buy it anyway because I'm obsessed with it. So I just felt like the glass kind of complements this area really nicely. I was never a social media person. Before I made this page, I honestly just made Casa della Mimosa for fun, just to show my friends and family the updates we've been doing, and it kind of took off. My sister is actually an influencer as well, so she's been giving me tips along the way. It's definitely a learning process, but it's fun to share what we're doing with even more people than I initially expected. The videos that do really well typically are the ones where we go for a dark, moody sort of vibe. The first one was our guest bathroom. That video blew up. As you'll see, it's very dark, Victorian type of style. So that, and then the office as well, is more of a Victorian dark study. So I think people that follow me definitely like to see that kind of aesthetic for sure. And next, I'd love to show you my office. Let's head in there. Welcome into the office. The vibe with this room was definitely a dark academia study. This is my boyfriend's office, so he got kind of the reins on not necessarily designing, but what he wanted the room to look like. And he wanted very dark, very masculine. He likes to golf, so there's some golf touches in there. This is one of the rooms that has done really, really well on my social media. It went super viral and is honestly one of the reasons that my Instagram is as big as it is right now. But one of my favorite aspects of this room is definitely this mural landscape wallpaper. This is from Bell Art Studio. I did a collaboration with them. They reached out, and when I was looking through their wallpapers, this one just really stuck out to me. I think it's so beautiful, and a lot of people think it's an actual picture frame just because of how beautiful of a picture it is. So when we picked the colors on the wall, they're called Flora by Valspar, we had to make sure that the wallpaper, or the color of the wall, complemented this wallpaper really well. And when we put up this mural, we wanted to do a frame around it to just kind of give the impression that it is an actual piece of art. When we first started this office, our first step was doing this built-in bookshelf. I have to give most of the credit to my boyfriend. He did most of the building, but me with my engineering background, I actually designed the bookshelf itself using CAD. I don't know if anyone's familiar with that. But one of the things that was tough, we struggled with, was figuring out the height for the shelves. We could have either done 4 smaller shelves or 3 bigger shelves, and we decided to go with the 3 bigger shelves just so we could fit more in there. Before, we would have been a little bit constrained. And these large cabinets were custom for his golf clubs. So it was definitely a necessity for him. He uses this for all of his golfing. Then here we kind of have this little seating area. The inside, I just put my crafts and things like that. But yeah, this bookshelf is filled with books, as you can tell, a lot of them thrifted. But other than that, I just wanted to find some cool knickknacks that, not only a little bit masculine, but just kind of go with the vibe of this room. My boyfriend really liked this little clock thing, so he got to pick that out. I found these mallard bookends at a thrift store. That vase was from a thrift store. That plate at the top from the Masters, I think it's actually one of like 5 plates made that year or something, so that was cool to find. So this desk, we bought this desk before we even moved in. I saw it on Facebook for like $10, and I was like, this is a no-brainer. It definitely goes with the dark academia Victorian style of this room. And I just added some of these more books as just decorative pieces. This lamp was really cool. I thrifted this, and I feel like it kind of has an old-timey look to it. This chair, thrifted this as well. My boyfriend will say it's definitely not that comfortable, but it looks nice, so that's all that matters. This rug, when I was looking for a rug for this space, I was kind of in between going for one that was a little bit darker with a little bit of green accents or just lighter, and we definitely thought that lighter would be better just from how dark this room is in general. So we wanted to do something, light, airy, to just break up the dark colors in this room. And then this light is actually new as well. When this room went viral on Instagram, one of the main backlash comments we got is, why do you still have that fan? There was a really ugly fan here, and like, what's your attachment to the fan? And there was really no attachment. It was just we hadn't found a light fixture we liked. So I did find this one, milk glass. I love milk glass light fixtures. And I feel like this really just kind of brings the whole room together, elegance of it. So this piece was actually thrifted as well from a thrift store down the street. I don't know if it's an original or not, but I just thought it was really cool. My boyfriend loves boats and things like that as well, so it's kind of like a vintage sailor. The colors of it are really beautiful, and I feel like it's just a nice accent piece to this wall. This little bar globe, I actually, see it shuts like this if you don't want the alcohol shown, was a gift that I got from my boyfriend for his birthday a couple years ago. He's been wanting one for a long time. It's definitely an old-timey look. You'd think you were in like 1900s man's study or something, with some bourbon, if you're into that, and some cigars. It's on wheels, which is really cool. You can reel it around. I just felt like the colors really went good with this room and definitely brings that old school vibe that we're going for. And next we'll head into the guest bedroom. And this is the guest bedroom. One of the main things that has changed in this room is the floors. This was, when we bought the house, the only room that still had carpet in it. And we figured since the rest of the house had hardwood floors, there must be hardwood floors under here too, but there's also a reason that somebody covered it with carpet. So when my dad was in town one weekend, he, without even asking, just ripped up the carpet. Didn't even tell us. We woke up one day and the carpet was gone. I was like, all right, guess we're doing this. But he was right. There was hardwood floor underneath, but they were in very, very rough shape. There was some of them rotted, some of them missing 2x4s across the floor. So we had to replace about half of them with pine, because that's what's throughout the entire house. But something I didn't realize is that new pine and old pine floors, old meaning like 1928, they are not the same color. Or maybe they were the same color, but they changed over time. So when we were trying to stain the floor, half of it was turning out a different color than the other half. So I was very discouraged. I didn't want to have to switch out all these floors. I looked into how to age new pine floors, and I found that if you mix triple O Brillo pad with vinegar and let the mixture sit for about a day, and you put it on the floors before you stain it, it actually ages the floor. So we did that with a couple different stains, and we managed to get them to match pretty well, I would say. So that was really exciting that we were able to do that. But you can see the floors, I went with a darker stain in here. Just one, because we had this barred door that we got from Facebook, which is a little bit dark, so I wanted to do more of a dark vibe in here, especially because there's so much, it's so bright in here. With the lights, I thought the dark floors would be a good complement. This was a piece that I just found recently. It's a dresser, as you can tell, but the top opens and it becomes a desk. I'd never really seen anything like this, so I thought it was super cool when I found it. I was debating whether I should stain or sand, stain, reseal it, but I kind of like the rough look of it. I'm very much into the antique look of things, so I'm gonna leave it for now and see if I change my mind later. But this mirror was also from my parents' house. They gave this to me, and I feel like it fits here perfectly. And the wood accents on this mirror actually are the same color as this, so that was another reason I didn't really want to mess with the stain. I thrifted this rug at a place near here. It was like $10, which is pretty crazy because it's a really beautiful rug. I felt like the greens and the colors just matched here perfectly. I was having a lot of trouble finding a good rug for this area, and I found this and I was so excited. So this room is one of the rooms I actually like to switch out the bedding a lot based on the seasons. I just think it's really fun. I switch it out more than my own bedroom. I've gone from block pattern prints to just solid, and this was my most recent bedding choice. It's kind of like a skirting, and I feel like it kind of gives more of a old-time look to it. It's also a little bit feminine. I feel like this room is definitely a little bit more feminine than other rooms, but I just think it kind of gives a dramatic look, which I really love, and it goes well with this headboard, actually, which this is a makeshift headboard. A lot of people on Instagram got really hyped over this. This is actually a screen divider. My parents gave me this as well, and I've had this since my first apartment. I've been using this as a headboard, and I just love it because headboards are also super expensive, nobody realizes, and this just fit the bed perfectly, and it also elongates up the wall, so it's both decorative and functional. But yeah, a lot of people really like this. So another thing that was really popular on my social media was this TV easel. This easel I found on Facebook. It's beautiful, it's solid wood. I got it for a really good price. And I had this idea to put the TV on it. Just because I've had a couple of pieces of furniture in this corner as a TV stand, and none of them really fit well. It was just too cluttered or awkward because it was a corner angle. So I got this idea to put the TV on an easel. So I got this easel, and thankfully this TV fit on here perfectly. Couldn't be any more perfect. I got really lucky. And we actually used the leftover floorboards to make this frame. So when you come in here, honestly, a lot of people just think this is an actual piece of art because I was able to hide the wires pretty well, but this is definitely one of my favorite pieces in this room. And I just had decorated it with some vases and some greenery and things like that. And it's nice that you can just go on YouTube, switch out the picture for any season, or however I like to change the bedding and such, just find a picture that goes well with it. So this side table, I also recently thrifted about the same time I got that. Same thing in here. I've just been having trouble finding a side table that looked right, and I saw this and I feel like it was a very primitive style table, which I really like. Definitely old, a little bit weathered, but I like that aspect to it. This lamp, I thrifted that as well. 2 different places, the lampshade and the base itself. And then I just like to decorate the table with little pictures and little trinkets and things like that. These 2 pieces this actually I got from an estate sale, this frame right here, and then this one was thrifted at a place in Tampa. And something I do like to do with my pictures is add this chain. They didn't come with this chain, but I kind of just feel like it brings a lot more to the painting, especially when you have a wall that doesn't have that much artwork on it. You can just add these chains and it just brings a lot more dimension to the piece. So this chandelier is actually a fan. And one of the things for this room when I was looking for a fan was I want it to be aesthetic and pretty, but also functional because we live in Florida and it's 100 degrees and you need a fan. So I found this, it's called a fandelier is what it's called. You just turn it on. It turns into a fan. There's a bunch of settings. It actually gets pretty strong. And then you can make it bright. Ooh, probably shouldn't have done that. And then back to light. I like the dimmer lights for sure. I would say what I love most about my home is just that every room kind of has a different style. People always ask me what my style is, and I feel like it's a very hard question because I have a mix of all styles. You know, a little bit rustic, and then you come into the living room and it's kind of like a Ralph Lauren meets Nancy Meyers, and then, you know, European countryside, and then to the Victorian. So I kind of just like how every room has its own story, essentially. I think what gives a home a soul is just adding your own personal touches to it. So many people try and copy homes that they see online or on Pinterest and try and make it look exactly like that. And I feel like essentially that won't feel like your own home. You need to have personal touches, whether it be art that you like or pictures of your friends or your family or just things that even if they don't go together, they go together because you like them. And next, I'd love to show you my guest bathroom. Welcome to the guest bathroom. This was another room that went mega viral on my social media. I would say this room was actually probably the start to my Instagram in general. I had about 200 followers before we did this bathroom. And then I posted the video and it just kind of took off. So the vibe of this bathroom was I definitely wanted a really dark, moody space. When we first bought this house, it was stark white. The tub was actually polka dot. It was gray. It was just very boring. And we did some minor changes over the years, just little cosmetic updates. But one thing I realized in this room is that there's just no natural lighting. This window goes into the sunroom, so it's not even from directly outside. So no matter what I did, it's just this room was dark. So I said, let's just embrace the darkness. We're going moody. And so that's what we did. This wallpaper was from Wayfair. I absolutely love it, the colors of it. I feel like it's neutral, earthy, but also has a lot of depth to it. And then this color is called Dark Auburn by Sherwin-Williams. It just matches this perfectly. So, and here we added this shiplap walls. We added the crown molding and the crown molding at the top. This vanity actually, it came with the house, but this was first white, and then I painted it a different green, and then I painted it to this, it's called Cocoon, which is kind of like a grayish green, but complements with this wallpaper really nicely. We also switched out the faucets. The ones were here were very ugly, so we switched these out to gold, switched all this hardware out to gold, and same with these sconces. These are actually from Amazon, believe it or not, but because the light fixtures are up so high, we had, at first we just had, you know, solid, like typical ones that were high up there, and it just looked weird. It was just like so far away, so I was like, let's just get hanging ones. And I feel like these fit the wall a lot better. And then this mirror is actually from Hobby Lobby, but definitely looks like it could be old as well. And then some of these trinkets, this I think was actually from my parents' house. But I love just having like mirrors on countertops. I feel like it brings a lot of elegance and just, you know, a different platform for your little trinkets. This was thrifted. I love getting little thrifted vessels for just whatever you want, Q-tips, matches, anything like that. This little fairy light was thrifted. I was looking for one of these for so long and I finally found one, which is very exciting. And then this was thrifted as well, this glass taper candle holder. And then this painting's actually, or not even a painting, it's kind of like a metal, I don't even know, metal something, but I just think it's beautiful. It's just this woman's silhouette and just goes in this bathroom really nicely. This clawfoot tub was actually one of the reasons I wanted to buy this house. We have two, one in here and one in the master. I just love it. I just feel like even if it's not original to the house, it looks like it could be. And it was just one of the reasons I fell in love with this house. When we first bought the house, it was polka dot though. It was gray and white polka dot. It was not cute in my opinion. So we ended up just painting it white. The feet, I painted the same color as the walls. And then we also switched out the plumbing to this gold, which was silver before, and same with all the hardware up here. It's just so nice to take a bath in this room. It's like very tranquil, especially with the darkness. It's very nice. Anyone that has not taken a bath in a clawfoot tub, I highly recommend. This light fixture we switched out as well. It was, I don't even know, it looked like a high school classroom lighting, the one that was here before. So I got this milk glass one, more milk glass. I love milk glass, and I feel like it just really brings this whole space together. This stool I actually just recently found at a thrift store, and I just thought that it matched the wallpaper so well. One of my friends actually who was over last week was like, "Did you put the wallpaper on the stool?" Which doesn't really, I don't even know how you would do that, but I was like, no, it just looks so perfect that I felt like I had to get it. Just, I don't think anyone will ever sit there, but it just matched so well that I needed it. And next I'll take you to the foyer. Welcome to the foyer. One of the first things we did when we moved in was put in this brick flooring. The original flooring was this pink tile, like gave a high school vibe. It just wasn't really cute. So when my dad came down to see the house for the first time, we immediately put him to work putting in this brick. It's called Georgia Reclaimed brick, I think. They actually don't even sell it anymore. I tried to find it, I can't. But I feel like it really just complements this wall. I was back and forth on whether I should paint this wall because of the brick. It was kind of a lot going on, but this siding is actually the original siding to the house. So I just thought painting it would just be so heartbreaking. So I didn't do that. So we decided to keep this the way it was with the brick floors, and the ceiling actually was not stained this color. The ceiling was kind of like a raw, it was like raw wood color, but it was a little bit orangey. So with that and the wall and the brick, it was just too much going on. So we decided to stain it darker to kind of match the dark tones in this wall. And I feel like it kind of just brings this space together a lot better. Another thing we added was these stained glass windows, which were from my parents' house. My dad gave this to me. Before it was just like an empty space. And I think it's because this was an addition, this room. So essentially this would have been the front door right here, and that just would have been a window. So they had this open. But we were able to cut these windows to fit in this space perfectly, and then we just framed it out, which is really nice because during Christmas we actually put our Christmas tree right here, which is really cool because you could just see it from that room. These chairs, actually I found on the side of the road. Somebody was throwing them out, which is crazy. So got them for free. I cleaned them up. There was wheels on the bottom of them I removed because I didn't really like them, and one was missing. And then one of the chairs had a rip that I was able to fix, but it's just crazy that some people throw some things out. They're just such beautiful chairs, and they just match in here so well. And they're a little bit smaller, which is nice because this isn't that big of a space, and the other chairs we had just kind of took up too much room. So this was actually the other coffin stand, similar to the one we had in the other room. I just put a glass top on it, and it just makes the perfect table. I decorated this with some books, matches, and just little frames as well. But I just feel like the coffin stands match so perfectly in this room with the chairs. And it's a little bit smaller as well, so it fits really nicely. So this mantle actually, I bought before we even moved into the house. It was white before, painted white, and it wasn't completely framed out. It was just the front face of it, which we had in this room for a while, but it just kind of looked incomplete and dirty and just wasn't cute. So we decided to frame it out, put some wood on the sides, and then extended this top part, and then stained it to match the stain on the ceiling. We also added this back part, which I got these tiles from like Floor and Decor, and I've been wanting to do a herringbone style something throughout the house, but didn't really have anywhere to do it, so I decided to put it back here. And what's really cool about this is we didn't permanently put it in there, so if I was ever wanting to change the tile in the background, I could easily switch it out. But these that's on here, I just decorated with some taper candles. I actually made these topiaries for spring. This was thrifted, and same with that vessel over there, and basically just got styrofoam balls and glued some moss on it. But I feel like it's a really cute spring accent. And then this wall, this gallery wall. This wall in here is just so tall that I always envisioned a massive gallery wall. So over the years, I've just been kind of collecting art pieces to add onto here. Some of my favorites, I would say, is this floral painting right here. This frame is just beautiful, and I love this one, and same with this one I got from the St. Pete Flea Market. These three I got from a church thrift store. And same with that one up there. This one actually, I bought this frame originally with a plan to use this as the frame for the TV in the guest room, and I just didn't measure it, I guess, because it didn't fit. So I had this beautiful frame, but no picture to put in it. So what I've been doing is getting prints from Etsy, actually. You can buy prints for like $3, then get them printed at CVS, Walgreens, or whatever. And I've been switching out the prints for each season. So I have a Christmas one, a Halloween one, spring one, which is really fun. You could just change it up and you're not stuck to one picture. But a cute, cool little hack that I've done is you can actually get Mod Podge, matte Mod Podge, and paint on these prints following the same brush stroke, and it kind of looks like it's an actual original art piece. So it's kind of a little hack for people that aren't so lucky with finding originals. This light fixture actually my dad made for me this past Christmas. He had this light he probably found somewhere, and he used the pulleys, that pulley system, and attached the light to it. So this was one of my favorite Christmas gifts. He was very excited about it. He shipped it here from New Jersey, and I just think it really goes so well in this room, the color of the glass with the floors. And now I'd love to show you the sunroom. This is Mimosa. She's actually the name behind this house, Casa della Mimosa. She normally has a bandana on, but I didn't get her dressed in time, I guess. This is her room, I would say. This is where she spends most of her time just because of all the sunlight. But in this space, we actually haven't done much to it. I have a lot more plans, but one of the things we did do are these beams. We did 3 beams across the top, and I will say this was one of our first projects, so they're not as good as the beams in the living room, but you know, everything's a work in progress. But this room I would definitely say is more of a mid-century modern sort of aesthetic with this couch, the green leather couch, more green, as you can tell, I'm obsessed with green. And same with this table, is definitely a mid-century style table. I definitely have all my plants in here, obviously, because it's a sunroom. I love plants. I normally have more than this, but you know, with traveling and such, it's hard to keep up with. This chair, this director's chair, is from my parents' house. One of the things they gave to me. It's not really that comfortable, but it's aesthetic, which is, you know, it's all we care about. This rug, it's a checkered jute rug. I actually love this rug so much. It was between the checkered and the diamond, and I just thought the checkered looked really nice in this space. On the coffee table, we have some more books. These are mostly garden related. I have 2 up here, then the other ones are up here. It's a gardening series. I do love gardening as well. So yeah, books are just a nice little fun thing to add to coffee tables. So the floors in here, they are original. They're old, and you can definitely tell in some spaces, but this floor is a darker stain than the rest of the house. That was one thing that was a little bit weird, is each room, they're all hardwood, but they all have a different stain, which honestly, it's kind of nice. It gives you an opportunity to change the style in each room, but these are more of like a cherry or like a red oak. So we matched these floors with these beams, or we tried to as best we could, and same with the other wood accents. This record player I have felt like matches the beams and the floor wood very well, and same with the mirror. I actually made this myself. One of my friends for a birthday got me a stained glass making class. So every Saturday morning we would go to this class, it's a little bit of a drive, and make the stained glass window. So it's actually really fun, and I keep saying I want to do it again, but I just haven't got around to it. It took me, I would say, about 6 weeks, but really goes in this room very well, I would say. Home to me means a place where you feel comfortable, where you feel relaxed, where you can decompress, and essentially a space that completely reflects yourself and what you like, and somewhere that you can feel cozy. Homeworthy, it was so great showing you around my home in Largo, but it's time to go now. Bye.
Hey Homeworthy, I'm Addison. Welcome to my home in Arkansas. Come on in.
You're watching Homeworthy, where we believe every home has a story.
Hi, I'm Addison Gunn. Welcome to my home in Little Rock, Arkansas. My husband and I bought this house nearly 3 years ago. We were first-time home buyers, and I knew that when we first started to look for homes, I just really wanted something with some character, and preferably in the historic neighborhood where we live now. This house was built in 1932, and it's got all these amazing features that are original to the home, like our original windows, the stone fireplace, exposed brick in the kitchen, all these thick baseboards, and that's what we really fell in love with when we came to look at the house. I feel like my personal style leans a bit more eclectic, but I definitely have a big mixture of a lot of different styles, and I think I really like to play with a lot of neutral colors and just layer pattern and a lot of texture, and I like a lot of old, unique, weird things, and so you'll see a lot of that. I like a little bit of a coastal flair here and there. We've used some wallpaper in places and just a lot of different pattern on pattern stripes, all that fun stuff. So here we are in the entryway, or when you first come into our room. It's a very long rectangular shape, and so we were able to kind of split it into two different sections. So this first here is our makeshift entryway, and then right back here we've got our actual formal living room. But behind me, I think the first thing that you'll see when you come in that's pretty eye-catching is our big, gigantic Monstera plant. I have a pretty bad track record with keeping plants alive, but we bought this plant about 2.5 years ago when we first bought the house, and she's thriving and she's survived this long, so pretty proud of her. And then kind of off to the left of that, we've got our stone fireplace, and that's just flanked by these two symmetrical windows that are original to the house. Actually, all of the windows that we know of in the house are original. I think they just add a lot of character to the house, and so we really love those and think they're worth it. And then up here on the mantle, we've got, you'll see I have a lot of mirrors in this room. We get a decent amount of natural light in here, but I kind of like to utilize mirrors as a way to bounce off light and keep everything nice and bright and airy and maximize the space. So we've got this hand-painted mirror here up on the mantle. And what's funny about this, I got it on Facebook Marketplace from a house just a few blocks over, so I got to stay in the neighborhood, but just got a little bit of a new life in here. And then right here we've got this big clamshell. You'll see as we go that I really like to incorporate a lot of coastal elements throughout the house. My husband and I both grew up here in Arkansas. We have really no connection to any coastal areas. But I did grow up, as most Southerners do, going to Florida beaches every year for summer vacation with my big crazy family. And so that's just a big part of my childhood core memories. And so I like to kind of scatter those elements throughout the house. And then right over here, we have these beautiful antique crystal candlesticks. I really like these over here because I've got a lot of rusticness kind of going on with the stone and the shell and the dark wood of the mirror. So I feel like these kind of add a little bit of femininity back into the space. And you'll see that that's something that I like to do a lot throughout the house, is if I'm leaning one way a little bit with my style, I kind of like to add something in to counteract that and kind of center it back to my personal style. And then right in front of the fireplace, we have these two swivel barrel chairs. We get a lot of use out of these just sitting in front of the fire. We have a pretty small living space, and so they also add for a little bit extra seating when we've got a house full of people. A few can kind of break off over here into this little area, or the swivel is great because you can kind of turn your attention to wherever you need in the room. So we love those. And then right up above me, we've got this big lantern light fixture that we put in. I really like that. I think it's just nice and bright and airy, kind of cool. And then right directly in front of the fireplace, we've got our big buffet table. This was actually one of the first things that we bought when we bought the house. We had a lot of room to fill and a lot of empty spaces when we first moved in. And so my mom and I actually found this at a local flea market, painted it black, and I think it's nice. It just kind of grounds this little space over here, and I like to play around and switch up all of the decorations on top quite a bit. It's a picture of my husband and I at his dad's wedding, actually. So there's that. And then right up here on the wall, this mirror, I'm very proud. It's one of my proudest thrift finds. I actually got it from Goodwill back when I was in college, so it's been several years ago. But I got it for $15, and I didn't know what good of a deal it was at the time, but now looking online, these similar mirrors go for thousands. So very proud of that. And then up here, I really just like to play around with books a lot when I'm styling different areas in the house. I feel like my specialty is kind of curated clutter. I have a lot of clutter, but I try to keep it a little bit to a minimum and nice and clean. So I've got a lot of thrifted books and just a mix of all of that. And then you'll notice that I've got a few of these Jo Malone candles throughout the house. These are my absolute favorite, the Townhouse collection. I just think they're so beautiful, and the ceramic, even when the candle's all through burning, it's just a really nice piece to style with, I think. So you'll see those throughout the house as we go. And then I've just got these dried hydrangeas up here and this big, huge vase. And then this alabaster lamp. I've actually got another one kind of across the room here. Those are some of my favorite lamps. I just think they're so beautiful. So anytime I can find one to thrift at a decent price, I try to snag it up. Right over here as you first enter the house, we've got this little pedestal side table situation going on. This just kind of acts as a catch-all for all of our keys and junk and things like that. So we can just kind of toss everything right there, and that's where all of that lands when we come in. We've got this little nook area, makeshift desk area for me. This was actually a Goodwill find. I got this table for $19.99, and it's supposed to be actually for a dining table space, but we've just got the leaves down and got some styling going on here, this orchid. And this chair also was thrifted, and I've recovered the seat of it, and then you'll see later on that I've got another chair across the room with that same fabric. So I really like to do that with different fabrics and just kind of match things from across the house, and I feel like it makes everything feel a little bit more cohesive and custom when you've got different things that pull from different parts of the house that match each other. And then, of course, another alabaster lamp here. And I just like to sit here on my iPad, computer, whatever, answer emails and that kind of thing, have my coffee in the morning over here, look out the window and have my Carrie Bradshaw moment sometimes. I think that I really just want people to feel very cozy and welcome. Our home is definitely not super polished and prim and proper. We've got a lot of knickknacks, a lot of I think, pretty clutter around the house. And so to me, that just makes me feel cozy and welcome. Being a first-time home buyer, I've been extremely picky, and it's taken me several years from going from my very first apartment on my own all the way up until now, living in this home for almost 3 years. It's taken us a lot of time to build and collect things that feel like us and that are true to our personal style. I think that it's just important to remember that it takes time to make your home feel like a home. It's ever evolving. I think our house is definitely, we've always got a project going on. I'm always moving things around here and there. And so I think just take your time and find things that speak to you is the best advice that I could give when you're first moving out and creating your own home. Now we're stepping into the living area. We kind of refer to this as our formal living room here. So as I kind of talked about before, this room is a big, narrow, rectangular shape. And when we came to look at the house before we bought it, we were actually able to see the previous owner's furniture in the room. And they had a completely different layout than what we decided to go with. But I knew that I really wanted to utilize every little square inch of this house that I could. So I wanted to kind of have a separate space for the entryway and then a separate living area as well. And so I think we were able to kind of do that with the sectional here. And this is our big, comfy linen slipcover sectional. I think it does a good job of being nice and pretty, but also being super comfortable. We like to lay out here and sprawl out and get comfy, and we can fit a lot of people on this little couch in this tiny little space that we've got. So we really love that. And then on the couch, we have these 3 lumbar pillows. I like the geometric look and just the texture that they add, and I think they just kind of pop on the light couch. And then down here, you'll see that I've layered some rugs in this room. We've got a jute rug on bottom, and then just this black and tan striped, like, geometric situation on this rug. I really like the black. I feel like it kind of pulls from the other different black elements in the room and kind of ties everything together. And then our coffee table here was another Facebook Marketplace find, except not the top piece. We just got this wooden piece. It was actually the easiest Facebook Marketplace transaction I've ever had. I messaged the lady, and it was $35 for the coffee table. She came and delivered it within about 30 minutes of me messaging her and dropped it off for us, so that was amazing. But then my father-in-law actually owns a granite and marble company in Northwest Arkansas, and so he was kind enough to let us pick out a scrap piece, and he cut and polished it for us to custom fit our coffee table. So turned into from a $35 Facebook Marketplace find to this awesome custom piece that's really special to us because my father-in-law made it for us. So we really like that. And then on here we've got more books and some matches, a couple more of my favorite candles you'll see. And again, we can just hide things, like we've got some cards in there and just random little things like that we keep around. Right over here is our big, huge mirror. I think this is one of the things that your eye is kind of drawn to when you first enter our home. We got this, again, Facebook Marketplace. We actually got this for free, so I really like to brag that this big, huge thing was free. We did have to rent a U-Haul for it because it's so large and so heavy, but really proud that we got her for free. So then right over here, we've got our piano. This big thing has some wear and tear on it. It's secondhand, and my husband and I are not extremely musically inclined, although we've started to kind of get on some YouTube music lessons, so we're working on it, but it doesn't get a whole lot of use out of us. If we have guests come over that actually know how to play the piano, that's always awesome, but for now I just think it's beautiful, and hopefully one day we'll be able to actually play. But yeah, it's definitely got some wear and tear and a little bit of scratches here and there, but I actually just really like the look of that. I've got this big candle here, and then this branch we just cut off of a tree, so it's just some clippings of a tree, but I like the big dramaticness. I like big organic florals like that around the house. And then this plant previously was a live real plant, but again, it's one of my failed unsuccessful indoor plants, and when it died though, it actually created these really cool little straw like arms all around, and I actually think it looks really cool. So instead of planting something else that I'm gonna kill, we've got that going on for now, and I think it looks cool, so we're going with it. And then across here we've got another antique chair that, again, I recovered this with the same fabric that matches the chair at my desk across the room over there, and I really like how those kind of tie in together. And so then right over here we've got this trio of some art pieces that I really love. They're just kind of 3D textural, and I think they just add some really cool dimension to the space. And then right over here we've got this little picture of some birds. You'll see as we go, I really like to incorporate a lot of birds in my artwork, and I've got a bird lamp, and I just really like birds. That's kind of a theme throughout the house. My grandmother, or my mama as I called her, she was big on birds and bird watching, and she was a big redbird and hummingbird fan, and so I kind of like to incorporate that in the house as a way to kind of honor her, and I think I just inherited my love for birds from her. So yeah, you'll see that as we go. I have always had such a love for interior design and just beautiful things and decorating, and all I've ever wanted to do is grow up and have my own space and home to decorate and design myself. And so I definitely spend a lot of time, I'm constantly thrifting and looking for new ways to rearrange the space and new things to bring into our house. I also share a lot of our home on my social medias, TikTok and Instagram mostly. A lot of my content is just the house and different project pieces and decorating, and a lot of the bathroom, which you'll see. And so I definitely, that's been a creative outlet for me, and I really like to share that there. Here we are in the kitchen. This kitchen is one of the main things that I really fell in love with the house for when we first came to look at it. Mainly this exposed brick here. I just feel like it makes everything feel so cozy, and I just feel like I'm in a little cottage kitchen when I'm in here cooking. So I absolutely love the exposed brick. And then around here I've just got some cookbooks. This picture is actually myself, my sister, my grandmother, and my mom. And this is, we call her Mama. She recently just passed away, but I was extremely close with her. And so I like to kind of keep her here with me when I'm in the kitchen. She was an awesome cook and just always in the kitchen, and just a really fun person. So I like to keep that picture here with some of my favorite people. And then right over here to the left of the exposed brick, we've got this little marble slab cutting board piece. Again, my father-in-law owns the stone company, and when my husband and I first started dating, he took me out to the scrap yard and I got to pick a piece out, and then he cut and polished this into a little cutting board, and he actually carved "I love you" on the back, so I think that's really special, and we'll always have that. I'm big on lamp light, and so we've got that. We hardly ever turn on the big lights in the house. We're not big light people, we're lamp people. So we've got that going on, and then I just like to keep some fresh produce out and just kind of store it in this little bowl here. Over here on this wall, we've got these two big windows above the kitchen sink, which I absolutely love. We've got some tree limbs kind of swaying and a nice little view of this tree out here, and so we love to have all that natural light in the kitchen. And these little cafe curtains, this rod was left here for us from the previous owner, and so we just replaced the curtains. My mom actually found this fabric and picked it out for us and made these little curtains, and we really love those. And then right over here, I've got my little coffee station. Again, another kitchen lamp. We've got some flowers. I always like to try and keep fresh flowers around the house to add in some greenery where we can. And then again, just some citrus, garlic, and more books. And then right down here, we have this vintage Turkish rug as our kitchen runner. I really love the pop of red, and I'm a really big fan of Turkish rugs. I just think the texture and the quality are just unbeatable, and I really like to find those and thrift those for our house. Right down here are where our dog Ralphie's dog bowls live. He's a very bougie little boy, so I feel like these dog bowls are very fitting for him. I just really love the print, and again, a cool, fun pattern. And if you can make all the mundane things, everyday items pretty, why not? So I love those there. I think what really sparked my interest and my passion for interior design and just decorating would be my mom. We definitely have different styles, I would say, but she's just always had a love for that, and just always kept her house so beautifully decorated, and I think that that really inspired me to want that for myself one day. I've inherited my passion for that from her. But then as far as where I get my design style inspiration, I would just say, of course, Pinterest and things like that, but I've just always really leaned into finding unique and different things. And so then transitioning on into the dining area / sunroom, informal living area situation. Right here first is our bar cart area / a lot of storage for linens and hosting items. This was another thrifted find. You'll see I have a lot of those. I say that a lot. But I'm not sure if this is actually hand painted or how this dresser was made, but I just really love the look of this pattern that's going on here. And then up above, got all the goods over here, some more bird art, and then some fun fish that I just thought was pretty cool. And then we've just got some pretty little coupe glasses and different fixings and some cocktail napkins. We also keep these wine corks from different special memories and just random times. And then I've got a couple of these wine corks left out that are a little bit more special. This one here is from Fredericksburg. I picked this up on my bachelorette trip there a few years ago, and then it's just a special place to us because we went there again for my sister's bachelorette trip. So I just thought that was pretty fun. And then my husband and I went to Napa a couple years ago and picked this up when we went tasting here, and so just special memories. This whole section of the house was actually an addition. We're not sure exactly when it was added on from the kitchen on. This is not original to the 1932 build, but we really do love all the paneling that's on the walls. I've kept the walls pretty plain right over here just because I like to showcase that paneling, and we just think that's really gorgeous, and it's just nice and bright and airy in here. This is our dining table. This is really special to me because it belonged to my grandma, my mom's mom, so my Nana, and I just love all of the details around the edges and these beautiful legs. So funny story about this table though, my family keeps a lot of home videos and different memories, and we'll watch them periodically from vacations and family trips, whatnot. But my parents recently came across some videos from the 80s on the big old VHS tapes. And it was a high school party. My mom's gonna kill me for this, but it was a high school party that my mom and her brother had thrown in my Nana's beautiful home with antiques all around and everything. And people were playing quarters on this very table, and that house party in the 80s. So this table has definitely seen some things, and I just thought that was kind of crazy and cool to see it in action back in the day. So it's got some stories to tell. And so then here, this crystal bowl, it's actually meant to be a punch bowl, but I typically just keep some fruit or, again, some fresh produce, citrus, that kind of thing in here on display unless it's in use. But we also, a lot of times, will fill it with ice and put, a couple of champagne bottles when we're hosting different things and stuff like that. So it's pretty versatile, but I just think it's gorgeous. So I like to keep it out on display, and it's kind of the centerpiece of the table. And then these dining chairs are slipcover. I think I would be a little bit too afraid to have a bright white dining chair if I couldn't take it off and wash it. So luckily they are slipcover chairs, and I just think they're really nice. And the fabric up against the wood, it just kind of helps the wood table shine, I think. So you'll see throughout the house we have these matching custom window treatments all throughout, and we absolutely love these. We hit the jackpot with the previous owner of the home because they luckily left these behind for us. We've added in curtains, but all of these awesome shades were left behind for us. So we got extremely lucky there. Let's go on into the sunroom now. On the floor, we've got another vintage Turkish rug, and I really love this bright, fun pattern that we've got. I feel like it's nice and airy and a little bit more playful than some of the other things that we've got in the house. I like to keep this nice and bright and just really casual back here. This couch and chair back here are actually the first big girl purchase that I made when I got my very first apartment on my own by myself. And so they've stood the test of time, and I actually still like them, so I think that's a good sign. But when I first moved into that apartment, I didn't have any furniture other than a bed and a little kitchen table with 2 chairs and a TV and a dresser. So I stayed like that for a good month or 2 because I was being extremely picky about what I wanted to bring into the space, and finally landed on these. This ottoman was one of the few things that my husband actually got to pick out. It's pretty nice because we get to store a lot of our cozy blankets and games and things like that in here. It serves as an extra storage piece. So we do really like that. And it's just nice and comfy. So, and then right over here, we thrifted this little dresser table. It kind of serves as a little front row seat for these geraniums to get some good sunlight. In the afternoon, we get really awesome sunlight through these back windows, and it's just super bright and airy in here. And so that's their home. They get a lot of natural sunlight back here. And you'll see that this is pretty beat up, like the, what's it called? The drawers don't fully shut all the way. They're kind of falling off the tracks, and the mix match of the wood and the green paint and all the scratches and everything. But I think I actually just want to leave that. Some people may want to repurpose it, and we may one day, but I really love the character of it and just how it is right now. So I think that's a really unique piece. I think my favorite part of our house would have to be the bathroom, our guest bathroom actually, which is kind of random and weird to say maybe that my favorite part of a home is the bathroom, but that's just where we've spent most of our time project-wise and renovating-wise on the house, and I'm just really proud of it, how it's turned out, and it's just been fun to see my vision come to life there. So I think that would definitely be my favorite part of the house. We're going to move on into the primary bedroom. I really wanted to kind of calm things down and use a lot of earthy, muted tones in this room and make it feel really peaceful. I do like the bright white linen bed sheets here, and I really like to utilize a lot of eyelet embroidery lace on things just to add a little bit of texture, but still keep it to that neutral bright white. And then you'll see that we've got this really thick wool rug, super comfy and cozy, feels really good on your feet to walk around on in here. And I like the plain. I don't know that I have another solid rug in the house. It's kind of rare. I'm big on a lot of pattern, and so this just feels very nice and calm to me and simple. So then right over here we've got our big dresser. I actually painted this with the same color that matches all the molding throughout. We just got a paint match done and then repainted this, and I just feel like it kind of gives it that custom look. It perfectly matches all of the doors and the molding throughout the house, so I really like that. And then I recently thrifted these, again, bird pictures, and I just thought that the frame matched really well to the rest of our house, and then I really love that pop of maroon matting. And then we've just got this little pop of blue over here with this cutie little lampshade on top, just to add another lamp in here to avoid the big light, of course. Right over here is what we call the chair, which I feel like a lot of people have and know the chair. It's kind of a landing place for clothes and bags and different things like that. So it's never normally empty. So we'll just pop quickly into the primary bathroom. This is kind of like a before image of the guest bathroom that we'll show you here in just a little bit, but we haven't really done much updates to it, just add a few little decorations here and there, but for the most part we keep it pretty clean and just practical for us. Moving back towards the guest bathroom now, going back into the hallway, we've got this runner here that matches the rug in the living room actually. So again, I like that they can kind of match from across the house and make everything feel a little bit tied together. And then on the walls, we did the same paint as the molding and the dresser. We just kind of color drenched this little hallway here. I feel like it kind of calms everything down and lets the rug shine. Now we're on into the guest bathroom, which is the star of the show, in my opinion, and my favorite part of the house. Right in here, so this is the only part of the house that we've completely gutted from top to bottom and redone to our exact style. One thing that I really admire that a lot of designers do, or just that I'm inspired by, is kind of mixing unlikely patterns together and making them work in a space together. And I feel like we were able to do that with the whimsical wallpaper with the florals and the birds and all of that kind of stuff going on, and then mixing it with the classic checkered tile floor down here. I feel like the black in the floor just kind of grounds the space, and then also kind of pulls it away from being so bright and airy and makes it feel a little bit more eclectic and true to my personal style. So I really love what we did with that there. And then we just got the beadboarding here. On the wall, we've got this mirror that I think adds some texture and just kind of pops against the wallpaper. And we've got these, the vanity light, I feel like adds a little bit of a retro feel to the bathroom, so we really like that. And I really just love to keep a lot of my little pretty bathroom toiletry items out on display. I think it just kind of makes the home feel lived in, and it's just realistic to have a little bit of clutter here and there, so I do like that. So we did previously have a big, nice countertop with tons of storage space in this bathroom, and we did choose to get rid of all of that and replace it with this porcelain sink, which I absolutely love. I feel like it makes the bathroom feel so much larger and just open, and I think it's just such a statement piece and just looks so beautiful. I love these vintage little knobs on the sink, and I feel like it gives the floor a little bit more room to really kind of show and shine. And then over here I've just got a little footstool to add some texture, and it's also pretty practical. We use that a lot to leave towels out and things like that, or when I'm taking a bath, I like to put my phone and whatever else that I need to on the little footstool there, so we can kind of move that around and use it as we need throughout the bathroom. And then right over here, another thing that I was really adamant about is the toilet. We picked this toilet out because I love the squared off, tiered shape that it's got, and then I really wanted a dark wooden seat. So I really love that, and I think it's just such a statement when you are looking into the bathroom. This shower curtain, they're actually meant to be just regular curtains. And when I was trying to pick out what I wanted for the shower curtain, I knew that I wanted to keep it pretty neutral because we've already got a lot going on, but I just wasn't sure what. I didn't want to just do a plain white shower curtain, and I was afraid to add in another pattern on top of everything. And so I had actually had these in storage for a long time, never had used them. I bought them on clearance several years ago and just didn't know what I wanted to do with them. And I remembered that I had them, I pulled them out, and they matched perfectly, so I've just tied them up to the shower curtain hooks here, and I think they just luckily fit perfectly into the space. So we did give up a lot of storage space with the porcelain sink, but we do luckily have this floor-to-ceiling cabinet space for storage, and so we keep a lot of like our towels and linens and things in here, and then a lot of just extras, shower, extra shampoo and things like that in there. So we're really lucky to have that storage space kind of hidden away. So this is our guest bedroom. In here we have this bed that is a family heirloom and very special to me. This belonged to my great-grandparents, and then this was my childhood bed from very young, I think probably about 6 or 7 on, and I carried it with me to my very first apartment, and I just will never get rid of this thing. It's very special. It's actually originally this like dark cherry color, but my mom and I had painted it several years ago, and then now you can kind of see this really pretty patina that it's got going on. Some of the paint is starting to rub off here and there, and I think that just makes it even more beautiful. And then right up here on the bed, we've got a couple different quilts. So we've got this floral print on the pillowcases, and we've got some striping, and then we've got this eyelet lace quilt folded down at the top or at the bottom, so just very nice and layered, I think. And then one thing I really love about this room is just how much natural light it gets in here. I kind of feel like I'm in a little tree house sometimes in this room, because when you've got the window treatments pulled up, we're kind of surrounded by some greenery all around, and then it's just nice and bright and airy in here. And again, we were extremely lucky with the previous owners that left behind these window treatments for us. And so I just kind of played off of these curtains and this black and white pattern, and designed the space around the curtains that were left behind because I love them so much. So, and then this dresser right over here, we just keep a lot of extra blankets and linens and things like that in case guests get cold. They've got some extra stuff to grab in the night, and it's just kind of a little storage area for us to keep a lot of that kind of stuff. And then we've just got some art, and I like to keep dried hydrangeas all throughout the house, so you'll see that. This light fixture right up here also was actually in my childhood bedroom, and I just brought it with me when I moved out into my first apartment, and it's just been with me ever since. So yeah, I think that's really nice and pretty right up there too. Add some extra light to the room. Okay, so then you'll also notice that we have no rug in this room. That's pretty rare for me. I like to have a rug in every space, but I just really thought it would be nice and pretty to let these hardwoods shine, and I think it just kind of helps everything else, the textures on the bed and the fabrics over here just kind of shine and pop. So I think home to me is just a place where you can come home and relax. We have so many memories here, and all of our little collected items scattered around that remind us of good memories and the people that we love. And so I think that's what home really means to me.
Hey Homeworthy, I'm Olivia. Welcome to my home in Nashville, Tennessee. I can't wait to show you around. Come on in.
You're watching Homeworthy, where we believe every home has a story. If you're looking to make your own space more homeworthy, we've teamed up with Cherish, our go-to online destination for chic, one-of-a-kind finds, sourced from the world's most wonderful vendors.
Mercury drops are from an artist I found on Cherish.
Whether we're after a bold statement piece or the perfect finishing touch, Cherish has extraordinary items that leave a lasting impression.
This table I bought on Cherish from Berlin, and it has a little bit of it's a tray, and it is mid-century, and it's one of my favorite pieces.
It's where we find iconic looks to set homes apart.
I think many dealers would agree that Cherish is the absolute best.
So to support Homeworthy and discover amazing items from Cherish, scan the QR code or click on the link below to start shopping.
I'm Olivia Shoemate. I'm an interior designer and realtor. Welcome to my 900 square foot home in Nashville, Tennessee. My husband and I bought this house a month or two before we got married, and we have been here for 2 years. It had been sitting on the market for a while, and I remember we were scrolling through the MLS and we found it. We were like, what's wrong with this place? My husband's a contractor, so we ended up using basically everything that we could that was here, but renovating it quite extensively. We really loved the area. We're in East Nashville right now. We're super close to restaurants and bars and shops and kind of a hyper-local neighborhood, which we really love. Welcome to my living room. This room has kind of come together over the years. It's been moved through multiple houses, except I did just purchase this 6-penny couch, which I was hesitant to buy because they don't have a showroom, at least in Nashville. So I had never sat on a 6-penny couch, but their branding and marketing was just so good that I fell into it, and I have absolutely zero regrets. Like, this is the best couch I've ever owned in my life. And we actually got it custom made for this space because it's kind of small, and they'll do that. They'll customize your couch size, which is so cool, and they don't charge any extra for it. So it's just kind of the price of a normal couch, but just whatever size you get. So we did that for here, and we picked this color Nectarine Dream because we are not like the most careful people. So definitely not the cleanest, and we have cats and pets and things like that. So picked this color that would kind of hide. It's not white, okay? We'll just say that. It's not gonna like show all of the dirt, and we love it. It's like very fitting for the space, actually. The coffee table is, I think it was actually like maybe some sort of cart or like school, something that like belonged at a school. It had wheels on it that we just ripped off to make it a little bit shorter to fit the couch. But it works great, and it's already distressed. That's the thing I love about old furniture, is that it's nothing precious. Like, we're very not precious people, and we can't have precious things. So yeah, you can just like put your wet soda on it and it's not gonna leave a ring, or if it does, who cares? And then this dresser I got, it's like a beautiful burlwood veneer, which I really love, and it was from my neighbors. My parents' neighbors gave it to them. My parents had it for a long time. They gave it to me. The drawers don't really work, but we keep like linens and some holiday stuff in there. It's not very functional because it's behind the couch and we don't use it that much, but it works and it's perfect for where it is. I've always wanted a fireplace, so I was really excited that this house had one. But unfortunately we can't use it as it is, just due to they added like it used to be a bedroom over here, which is like so small, but it's now a bathroom. But there's not enough space in between the walls for it to function as a fireplace. One day I would really love to get a wood burning stove and like have an insert of a wood burning stove, like a little tiny one in here. But right now it's just decorative, but still I love the way it looks. It's a nice like focal point for the room. This is a rotating door. There's like always something new on the mantle. I got this at an estate sale. These little angels, these little cherubs holding my peach blossoms from the backyard, which is fun. This is a photo of my mom sleeping when she was a teenager. I don't know why I love that picture so much. And then this mirror came from, I think it was an old dresser. It was like on top of an old dresser. So we just took the brackets off. Again, I just found it, but it works really well for that space. This is probably my favorite thing in my entire house. It's this tiny little table. It's like Thanksgiving prep table. We have like some grouse, I don't know the plural of that, little recipe book, little potato, turnips. It's just so cute. And then this lamp this sconce I got at a yard sale too, and dyed the shade blue. This is my favorite thing in my house. It's my original Howard Finster painting. Found this at an estate sale. I saw a picture of an artwork by his son on the estate sale picture. I didn't even see this. Like, I did not even see this. But I got to the house and me and like 3 other people were kind of like searching the house for anything Finster. And we were like asking the people that worked there. We were like referencing the photos for the paint colors of the rooms. Like, we were running up and down the stairs, and one of the workers sent us to a back room upstairs, and we were all up there looking around, and I was like, I just gave up because I didn't want to fight anyone. I was like, I'm not gonna like go too crazy. So I walked down the stairs, and then I looked to the right, and this guy moved this giant envelope, and this was sitting under it, and I just paused and waited and like was gonna see if he was gonna grab the painting, and he didn't. So I like ran over to it, grabbed it, and I was like shaking at the cash register because I didn't want the people that like we were kind of in camaraderie over trying to find it. I didn't want them to know that I found it because I didn't want them to be sad. But yeah, I just got it. It was $18, biggest score of my life. Probably will never happen again. But then here we have some photos of my husband's parents when they got married. And then his mom down there, she passed away a few years ago, but those are just special pictures. And then this collage artwork from an artist that I really love as well. And then again, just like little things that were given, like my friend's mom gave my mom this lamp, and then my mom didn't have a place for it, so I took it. My neighbor growing up, like when I was like probably 11 years old, gave me this pillow. It's shabby chic, like Rachel Ashby shabby chic, really old, but I just love it. It's been in every house. And then these are from Etsy, these little pillowcases. They're directly from India, and they were great to work with. They helped me, let me change a few things, which was really cool. And then this is my vintage matchbook collection. And it also has just like matchbooks from restaurants in town or places that I've visited. I have a favorite matchbook. It's actually these that we had made for our wedding. It's like kind of a fun little souvenir. Nobody's ever grabbed one when they come over, but they totally could. Another little thing from my husband and I's wedding. I lived in New York for a summer, just like doing a bunch of internships, and went to a market and met this woman named Janie Korn and bought a candle from her. And I commissioned her to do this for our cake topper. It was us like in our wedding outfits, but this is probably my favorite souvenir from that day because it's us as young cuties forever. So that's a really fun thing to have. And then on this wall, that photo up top is by my friend and brilliant photographer, Mamie Heldman. Shout out if you're watching this. And then Harry Underwood is one of my favorite local artists. He does amazing work. I really want a giant painting of his one day. That would be my goal. I have a few little pieces of his. And then that is also from a local artist, and I got that from my mom as well. And then on this wall, I can show you, I'll take it down for you. This is my husband's incredible artwork as a child. I'm very proud of it. It's like one of the best collage works I've ever seen. Okay, so this is a painting by another local artist named Todd Green. And behind it, I keep this little card that came with it. It's actually a copy of the sermon that his dad wrote. I think I'm getting the story right. His dad couldn't read or write, so he like drew out his sermons in pictures. And so this painting is based on this little square. I can't remember what scripture it's based on at the moment, but it's really cool. And then that's just another, I think it's a child's artwork from an estate sale. This is the first piece of furniture, like new piece of furniture I ever bought. And I actually only have 4 of those, I think. But yeah, it was like, so I needed something to go under the TV. And again, it would be kind of a challenge. We could do it, but mounting the TV on this cement block wall was going to be a challenge. So we just needed something for it to sit on. And yeah, it's like the perfect piece. It's like mango wood, maybe. I can't remember what kind of wood it is, but it's interesting because it has these like weird spots, and it's just a very different kind of wood than I'm used to seeing, and I really liked it. And then above that, we have a little plate collection of a turkey, a pheasant, and some bunnies that are just cute to me. And then here This is just a weird, every house has its like weird little stuff. Behind this, you'll find some weird little thing that I don't know what's going on there. But thankfully I have this brilliant LaCroix by Brett Douglas Hunter, another local dude, artist. So yeah, it just covers up that weird thing. So perfect. I think the key to living in a small space is having furniture that holds stuff. Like, for instance, we had a table next to the couch, like a normal person would have a table next to your couch, but we can't put anything in a table. So we like had to have a dresser there just to have storage for something. And then like this piece of furniture, for instance, it just like holds, I would not subject you to opening, like you don't want to see what's inside there. I'll just say that. But just having furniture with doors that will close and you can hide stuff is the key to having your things in a small space. I also have this is actually a Creative Co-op table. So really affordable. They have like, you can buy a really expensive version of these little iron tables, but like this version is just the best. This is my side of the couch and I like, I'm always having like, I don't know, a glass of water, a cup of tea, my little chocolate covered blueberries. Like there's always so much on this table and it works so well and you can just move it around really easily. So I think the beauty of working in a business where you're either like my husband being a contractor or like me working in real estate and interior design, like we are just so enthralled in the business of other people's homes. And this lamp, for instance, was a client's lamp that they no longer had space for, like that my husband was working on her house. So yeah, now it's our lamp, which is so amazing. It's like a really nice floor lamp, but it's one of our favorite things. The light it gives off is really nice. And we also got this door for this house as well. We really wanted an old antique door, which we probably could have sourced, but we just ended up ultimately just getting it made from a local place and then getting this amazing entry set from Signature Hardware. But I am obsessed with this. It's just such a nice feeling to lock and unlock the door. Just like feels amazing. This house is built in 1945. So it is very old, like its bones are very old. All of the walls are concrete block, which my husband being a contractor, it's actually something that he like hasn't really had that much experience with, which was funny because it's just not super common and it's way too expensive to build houses like that these days. So it's actually pretty cool, kind of our own little tornado shelter. But yeah, it was built in 1945, but it had been like flipped and renovated several times. And by the time we got our hands on it, it had just gone through another flip. It was a disaster. It was like the classic story of like the cheap flip. The plumbing was like defying gravity, essentially. The kitchen had LVP and it was like an inch taller than the rest of the floor. So we ripped that out and my husband extended the hardwoods in there and then we added this arch. We like extended the kitchen out a little bit and added an arched opening to kind of add some separation in this small space since our like living and dining and kitchen's all in one room. But it made it feel a little bit more cohesive, but still adding that separation. And then the cabinets were just from Home Depot and we ended up just being able to repurpose them and not throw them out, even though I don't like them very much, but they do a great job for what they are. But we've made them look like super cozy and we chose like some pretty affordable finishes. Yeah, basically everything we did was super budget friendly because that's all we could do after getting married and buying a house. But we're really happy with it. It's super cozy. And now we'll go into our dining room, which is just a few steps away. Welcome to our dining room. It actually has also evolved quite a bit. My house is constantly changing. I cannot ever keep anything the same. Like I have to mix it up all the time. And I'm very thankful for Facebook Marketplace for that. So we had a table in the center here. We had a square table with chairs, but ultimately felt like we needed to edit that for the ease of flow in this space and just like being able to travel through easily. So we found this pew on Facebook Marketplace. It was actually like, I think it was over 11 feet long. It was like a very long dogwood pew from a church in Ohio, I think, and we drove to East Tennessee and picked it up. And I thought it was going to be easy. We could just like, miter it and make it a corner bench and it would be no problem. It was actually very difficult ultimately, just given all of the angles, because we have like this and then you had this and then it was just like so many angles involved. My husband figured it out after like the whole Saturday, but yeah, it worked out so amazing. I have no idea how he did it, but it's like a really good miter, I'll say. And then we got this table from my sister who got it on Facebook Marketplace and didn't have a place for it. I really don't like the top very much, so we put this tablecloth on it for now. Kind of a good, just like, it'll probably change in no time too. And then I almost took these off before you guys came here, but I did attempt to make my own bench cushions. For now, they will work. I've reached out to a few upholstery people, but yeah, I just am not a seamstress, I'll say that. But the fabric is cute, and I got it at an antique store, so it's cute. And then we have chickens in the backyard, and this is kind of where I keep their eggs when I collect them until the bowl fills up, but you can keep eggs out on the counter for like a long time, so we just kind of keep them there until it's time to wash them. But yeah, and then these chairs, just mix match. Just got this one, little rolly wooden chair. Actually really comfy, so I like that one. And then for the artwork in here, again, just things that I've gotten over the years. This one I actually went out of my way and ordered on Etsy because I really liked the colors. It's a Swedish mid-century oil painting, and it's just a picture of a pail, but I liked the color. And then this is a picture of my grandma, 1939, school days is what it says, but I like that picture. And then my husband rides motorcycles, so we have that little motorcycle gang up there from, I don't know, yesteryear. Don't know what year that's from. And then this cool old still life also from who knows what. I don't know where that's from. And then we just recently added this pendant here when we moved the table over because we wanted to kind of anchor it a little bit more, give it more placement over here. And we added this pendant from Green Row, which I like, but it'll probably change, but I like it. And then on this side of the dining room is storage. So again, have to have a piece of furniture that can hold all my stuff. So I have this thing that I got on Facebook Marketplace. It kind of reminds me of a piece of furniture that Duval sells and makes in England, but it has like a beadboard back, but I really like it. It's a nice hutch and it holds like literally so much stuff, especially under here. It is like so used. And then a fun little trinket in here. I also have another little table over here, but it's a baking table. So it looks like somebody just was baking cupcakes and got up and left, which I just love. I don't know why. Couldn't tell you why I love these little tables so much, but I do. And then this goose, I'm obsessed with. I like genuinely can't think of anything that is more me than this guy. I think I got it for like $20 at an antique store just outside of Nashville. So I'm a huge, huge fan of that guy. And then I have a few like long burger baskets. I think they were like really popular in the 90s. My mom had a million, so these are her old baskets. And then if you spend much time on Pinterest, you've probably seen this guy. It's one of the doozy lamps from Etsy. And I ordered it. It came from China. Took like 2 months, but it's really cute and it is just like a little charming lamp. And then over here is my coffee station, coffee and tea. Got my little espresso maker. I make a tea every night from High Garden. It's like a local tea company that you can order online. I recommend you do. It's the best tea in the world in my opinion. But they make really amazing herbal blends and I do that every single night. And then I have my plate wall over here. I actually got this duck platter from my mom for Mother's Day. And it ended up back in my possession somehow. I'm not sure how that happened. And then I love this like folk artist, Grandma Moses. I have a few prints of hers, but these plates are both Grandma Moses prints, paintings in plate form. which I really love that too. And then these are just 2 old antique plates. Nothing really goes together, but it works. So originally when this house was built in 1945, there was a wall here. And then this was the kitchen. So it was like a truly tiny kitchen. But by the time we got it, again, that wall was gone. There's just like a header plate there that we made look like a column or a beam. But we decided to make the kitchen just a little bit bigger and added this little arched wall with these sconces on it for a little romance at night. But I think it's a nice way to separate the spaces. I started working for a luxury real estate team here in Nashville a little over 4 years ago. So I have a lot of experience in a lot of really beautiful homes, which kind of inspired me in a way, like beyond my my personal taste and my kind of constant redecorating of my own house. But being in these homes, and like my sister was a wedding planner or is a wedding planner, we kind of decided to come together and start an interior design business. So I still have like 1 foot in the door in real estate, and then I'm, you know, half real estate, half interior design at this point. But right now we're working on a lot of new construction and renovations and things like that. And it's just so much fun to be able to help people bring their visions to life and help them make the choices to bring that personality, their own personality, into their homes. It's a very fun process. And then when we're designing new construction homes, it's been really important to us to add character into those homes so that when people buy them, they're not like immediately feeling like they need to like throw out the vanity light or whatever. Like they buy the house as it is and they feel the character that already exists there. Like that's really important to us, to create a little bit of personality in those houses. So yeah, that's where my career has been heading over the past year. This year has been our first year in business in design. So it's been so fun. It's been like a whirlwind. We're very busy, which is amazing. Okay, I'd love to show you the kitchen next. Welcome to my kitchen. When we bought this house, it just had a few Home Depot cabinets and then some appliances that, you know, didn't make too much sense. But we really decided we didn't want to waste anything, because we were like, our goal is maybe next year or someday to be able to afford some custom cabinetry in here. So there was no need to buy or do anything that we couldn't afford at the time. So we really wanted to reuse the Home Depot cabinets that were here. And I think we accomplished that pretty well. So we kept what was existing. We just updated the hardware. These are from Lee Valley Tools, which is a really great place to find affordable, unique door hardware. So we upgraded the cabinets with that, and I think it makes it look a little bit more charming. This piece we got from, it kind of works as an island, which is so lucky to me. It's the perfect size for this kitchen, and it gives us just a little bit more counter space, because this space is really small. And we got this at an antique store. And again, it's like one of those things that is just so not precious at all. Like we spill water on it every single day. It is in great condition, and it'll probably stay with us for the rest of our lives. We love it. And for countertops, again, we were just looking for affordable. So we just went with butcher block. We did it all ourselves, which is like one of the many benefits of butcher block. And it adds a nice warmth. So I really like that too. And then for our sink, I got this on Facebook Marketplace. It's terrible. It is awful. It was blue when we got it, and then I got somebody else on Facebook to refinish it. And I do think that ultimately was a mistake. I think I probably could have just bought a new sink with how much money I spent refinishing it, but we tried to use an old one. I like the way it looks. It just is chipped and scratched and just does not function like I wish it would, but that's okay. This is just a Kingston brass faucet, and then we have this copper backsplash that we just got at an estate sale, and we just cut it to fit here, and it kind of just catches the water and will oxidize even more over time. This is just where we keep our mugs and cups and things. This shelf is also from an antique store, and then it's just nice because I really am a little particular about what mugs that I buy. Everything is handmade, and I really try to have them all related to travel or like places that we've been. So like I would say like 80% of these mugs are from our travels, except for these Bennington pottery ones are made in Vermont by Bennington potters, and I just collect that pottery. So yeah, this is a pig from a 1930s butcher shop specifically. And I love folk art again, and I just think it's like so goofy and cute, and it's perfect for our kitchen. And then we have just a bunch of random stuff here, you know. We got another Longenberger basket. This is where I keep my dirty dish towels. And then I really like little hand brooms, so little hand broom collection in enamelware. I love enamelware. And then over here, this house came with like a glass cooktop range, the cheapest one, you know, from Home Depot. And I just never liked anything about it. Definitely not a dream. But our neighbor was giving away this one, and we ended up just trading it out, which most people, I don't know if most people would agree with me that they like coil electric cooktops better, but if you're doing electric, but I just like really love them because you can, like, if you're cooking something with cast iron, or, you know, you just don't have to worry about it breaking, and you don't have to worry about scraping off like the grease with a razor or whatever you have to do with the glass cooktop. So I really love this one for some reason. I don't know. It just fits the vibe more maybe. And then here we have our $3 Rembrandt print, and behind it is actually the electrical panel, because this is such an old house. It predates the electrical codes. So yeah, panels in the kitchen. So just kind of a sneaky way to hide that. And then this is a medicine cabinet that was in my parents' powder bathroom growing up. They ended up taking that out of their house, and this was just in the shed, and I like grabbed it when we were renovating. Oh, something's gonna fall out. But now it's just a spice cabinet. We ended up building it in because there was a door here, but our neighbor's driveway is right there, so there's really no point of us to be able to like walk out into our neighbor's driveway. So we just took out the door and put this little medicine cabinet in, so it's super fun. And then we added these sconces from Etsy on either side. And then we did these open shelvings. This is some Doug fir that my husband had left over from a project. And we just sliced it up and made it into some shelves with, again, mostly handmade potteries, like what I prefer to have, just like, you know, anything that has character in it. It makes it way more fun to eat off of. So yeah, try to do everything handmade, except for obviously a few things. I go through phases of baking, I would say. I went through, you know, a sourdough phase like most people, but not a huge baker, honestly. But I do use that probably like once a week, one way or another. I find a way to use that mixer. I love the color, and it kind of coordinates with the sconce. And then this, we ran out of cabinets, and we didn't want to buy more. And my husband just built this like little corner situation. Our microwave is actually under there, but this is an old tablecloth that I just made into this little cafe curtain, and that's where we store our like kitchen pots and things like that. And then we have like a million magnets and junk on this side of the fridge. And this is our spaceship fridge that really doesn't fit into this kitchen at all. It's like way modern, but actually kind of like that about it. I don't know. It's like the nicest thing that we own, possibly. Love this thing. And then for pantry storage, again, storage is an issue in this house. So we just found this old cabinet at an antique store again, and just made it our pantry storage. So we keep all of our food in here. And then, yeah, that's kind of the kitchen. I think my personal style has evolved over the years quite a bit, but it really started just in childhood. Growing up, like, my mom was a very creative home decorator. She loves to paint and do all sorts of arts and crafts. And our neighbors growing up were artists and have really unique homes. And I think just like being in those homes growing up and like having that as like a foundation for what makes a home feel like a home really has helped me develop my own sense of style. Nothing that I ever buy, I'm ever thinking about like what it will go with. I'm just purchasing it or like finding it, getting it, whatever, making it even, just based on what I like, and then kind of just piecing it all together. It's very collected. I won't even say it's curated, even though I guess technically it is. And just based on, it's kind of like a patchwork quilt almost. Just a bunch of different things that I enjoy. And my husband, thankfully, is also inspired by a lot of things that I like as well. So, and also thankfully he's not so opinionated that he won't let me keep the weird stuff. Sometimes he, has his feelings about things, but we make it work. And I like a lot of stuff, but not too much stuff. And I'd love to show you my bedroom next. Welcome to our bedroom. Betty has decided to join us here. But yeah, this room is not massive, as you can imagine, but it works for us right now. This bedspread I really love from Etsy. It goes all the way to the floor, which again, storage. It allows us to hide some like baskets under the bed. And then this painting my mom did actually. So when she was young, she did that painting. And then by the bed, we have that tiny Amazon thing that's actually, it's like an Alexa, but it's my tiny TV at night. So not quite as gaudy as a big TV, but yeah, it is the perfect little sidekick. These pillows are also from Etsy, and then these are from a family friend. And then this was actually a yellow duvet once upon a time, and then over the mustard yellow no longer was my exact taste, so ended up dyeing it green. I actually want to dye it another color again, but yeah, that's the beauty of buying linen, because you can really change the color quite frequently. And then this, we have just some random, old things in here mixed with this new dresser that we keep all of our clothes in, of course. This little sconce was from just a thrift store. And then we went to Sanibel Island over, I think, last fall, and found this giant shell on the beach. So this is like my prized possession, really, because I don't know where I'm gonna find that ever again. So that's my little reading light over there is from, it was either Crate and Barrel or CB2, but it's a great little light that it just plugs into the wall, so it makes it easy to hang and kind of take anywhere. That print above my mini TV is another Howard Finster print. I think that's Elvis again. The one out there is Elvis, I forgot to mention. And then that deer plate is from a neighbor as well. And then we have my old shoe trunk here. And my closet in this room, it when we bought the house, it didn't have doors. And it was actually, I think, a laundry room. There were laundry hookups in there. So what we did was just add a curtain rod and some IKEA storage things. And we just put this curtain floor to ceiling to kind of make it look a little bit more elegant. But yeah, it works as a great closet. There's tons of storage in there for me. And then we have another, that's the water heater closet over there, but it's enough room for at least my husband to keep some clothes in there. So basically all the rugs in this house have come from eBay. I have one seller on there specifically that I am very loyal to. Now I'll show you my bathroom. Okay, so this was quite a transformation from when we purchased the home. It actually was, the toilet was, or I think the sink was here, the toilet was here, and then the bathtub was in this alcove, and it was a tub shower combo. I think that the tub was a foot tall for some reason, so we ended up taking all of that out, and the vanity was oversized. This is a very narrow space, so the vanity that was here was oversized, and it was just a little clunky. We did the Zalige tile in here. My husband laid it, he figured it out, looks great. And then we got this tiny little pedestal sink, which is the perfect size for right here. And we put in a medicine cabinet. So when we took the mirror down, we realized it was there was like space for a medicine cabinet back here. It was ultimately kind of tough to find the right size. So we did end up jackhammering the wall opening just a little bit, which was quite a scene to fit this medicine cabinet. So that worked out. And then we put the tub here so that when you walk in, you can just like have a really nice view of this beautiful clawfoot tub that we got on Facebook Marketplace. We got it so small originally because we thought it was going to fit into this space where the existing tub was, but it actually just works out because then we have a bookshelf behind the tub now for additional bathroom storage. And then we got this system from Vintage Bath and Tub, which is perfect. Like it works so well. I really love that. And then we got this just from my parents' house. I think it was like it's certainly from a thrift store. But it works as just a nice like extension of the sink. Since I don't have anywhere to put like any makeup or anything, like it's a little bit of a workstation. And this little chair I got at the thrift store, and it holds my rings, but it also is a good iPhone stand for when I'm in the bathtub. I just will put my phone on it. And then I have my salts for my baths that I take every single day. And then this shower curtain, we wanted it to be long to the floor. I ended up just finding that on Amazon actually. But it works really well and kind of adds some romance. This rug is actually from Etsy. It's the only rug in the house not from eBay. And then we have another Harry Underwood painting here. We color drenched this room in a very like light baby pink. So it's almost white, but it's just a little warm. And I really love the color. It's perfect. Okay, and I'd love to show you my office as well. Okay, so this is our office. It could be one day a guest room, but for now, it's our home office. It's just a nice place for us to get work done. It's very, definitely a lot of like craft things going on in here. Like I have a bunch of fabrics and my sewing machine there. And this piece of furniture was actually given by my great grandparents to my parents when they got married. There's like Sharpie on the back that's like a little note to them. It's sweet. So this kind of works as our linen closet in this space. Holds like our old pillows and things like that. And then I have this little table set up for kind of just like a lot of paint samples and like trying to figure out colors and fabrics and wood tones for some projects that we're working on at the moment. This is just where I sit literally every day, all day. The light, it's really nice to be by the window. I do feel like I get some vitamin D, so it doesn't feel like I'm so indoors. This I just got at a yard sale. I really love this lamp. These are just like some random things that I've collected over the years. This is a portrait of Patsy Cline by an artist, I believe in Kentucky, called Billy Lilly, and I really love that. This pendant light is one that I've wanted for years. It's from Pearson Ward, which is a design duo. They're based in Nashville and LA. They're like who I want to be when I grow up, basically. But yeah, I bought this pendant on sale. And I originally got it, I haven't even touched on this, but like next year we're going to be adding an upstairs in this house, believe it or not. That's the goal. And there will be like a primary suite up there. And this is going to go above my bathtub. Like that's my plan. But for now, it's in here. And I really love it. It's like kind of it's just very unique and I love it. And it's like worth every penny to me. I'm obsessed with it. We went with this green color in here. I don't know. I go back and forth with it. Like, honestly, it's probably something that's going to change too over time. But yeah, I do like this green. It's just I can't even remember what color it is. But it's great for what this room is now. I really love it. And then right off my office, actually connecting basically everything is this tiny little hallway. And this was a piece of art that I purchased for myself right when I think I graduated college, or I think it was when I graduated college. But it's by an artist, Kinda Coletti, and she just does like some really fun paintings. And I love that. That's like, this is another like really special piece to me. And then my friend Brooklyn made this for My husband and I, when we got married, it's just a collage of like little things that are personal to us and really special. Like I think I'm gonna copy her and do that as gifts for people because that's just so special. And then this is a portrait of Odette and Betty that I got for Christmas one year by, her name is Leah Gorin. She did pet portraits. I like followed her on Instagram, and she did pet portraits around the holidays one year. So yeah, that was my Christmas present. It's Odette and Betty. They actually are not friends, but they look like they're friends in this photo, and that is why I love it so much. I think home is just where you feel good. Like, I think you can have a home anywhere as long as you have people who you love around and you can kind of have a system or a community. I think that's what makes home. I think for me personally, like, I think this house, we bought it as a house. We made it a home, obviously, but it's actually temporary. Like we are going to be like renovating a lot of this stuff, but the things that we kept in it and the way that we have it set up now feels like home. It is so important to me to feel good in my space, or else I will not be able to function as a human being. So I have to be surrounded by things that really inspire me and make me feel like I can get stuff done. Like if I'm just in a place that I don't feel comfortable in, I'm not a functioning human being, honestly. Okay, Homeworthy, thanks for stopping by my home in Nashville, Tennessee, but you have to go now. Bye!
Hi Homeworthy, I'm Wallace and welcome to my home in Los Angeles. Come on in.
You're watching Homeworthy, where we believe every home has a story.
Hi, I'm Wallace. I am a brand and marketing consultant and we are here in my home in Los Angeles, California. The home is actually an original Craftsman from the 1920s. It has a lot of the original features which you'll see throughout. We have this gorgeous wood trim and then some original tile in the kitchen. And I used to live in New York. I moved to Los Angeles at the beginning of 2024 and I saw this house on Zillow and I absolutely fell in love and just completely hounded the landlord until it was mine. And I've lived here for about a year and a half. It's just such a special place and I really, really love living here. I would describe the style in my house as kind of playing off the colors and the textures of the natural world. I think it's important to have a lot of different textures. So there's some, cane and some jute rugs. There's a bit of Sherpa around because I'm sort of grounded in the colors that I have chosen to decorate my house. I think that it's just a lot of blues and browns and greens and they just kind of play off each other, which makes it easy when I buy something, bring it home, it kind of already will work with what I have here. So we're here in the dining room. This is kind of a multi-purpose room and you'll see why. We have a bit of an entryway situation happening, but primarily the room is used for dining. I used to work partially from home and in the office, but once I transitioned to fully work from home, I needed a desk space. So this is my office area. I sit here all the time and I just really love how this came together. I didn't know if I was gonna have enough space for this, but I found this desk on Facebook and it just kind of works perfectly to separate the actual dining area from the desk area, so that's lovely. And then something else about the room that I think is a really special feature is this built-in cabinet. I saw this when I was looking at the listing photos of the home, and it's just really special to have something like this because you really don't find them often. It just has a few things that I love, some menus. I do like to steal menus, you will see. So we have some from Great White there. I love the art on those. And then just some books and some pottery. I've made this and a few other things around the house. I used to do a lot of pottery. So it's just nice to have this little area where I can keep all of my treasures. I love that I get the storage, but I'm not compromising on the space here because it's built in. So that's lovely. And then again, just the trim in this room I think is amazing. There's a lot of natural light. We have 3 windows here, so in the afternoon and evening, the sun kind of goes over and then I can see the sunset out the front door, which is just really special. And then on this side, this is more of like the entryway, if you will. So I have just a table where I keep my keys and my sunglasses, and I put some of my bags on the wall. And then over here, I have these 2 menus. These are very special to me because this is Found Oyster in LA. If you have never been there, you need to go. And then this is from St. Jardine, which is in New York. And I just kind of love that these are both of my favorite restaurants in places that I live and used to live. And I love it. I think it's really special and reminds me of a different time in my life and where I am now. And I always collect menus wherever I go, if I'm in Europe or where I used to live. So I think that's a really fun, special detail. And then I just have a Slim Aarons print there because I love him and I think it's just a fun, bright print. Redid the light fixture here. The one that came when I moved in just really wasn't anything special, and I just love how a paper lantern looks. It just adds a bit of warmth and a bit more texture than what was in the ceiling originally, so I swapped that out. And I love having just kind of a round dining table. I can add another chair if I'm having more people over. And the rug my mom gave me, it was in a house that we used to live in when I was a kid. And I kind of thought it wasn't going to work in this space, but it actually ties in with some of the browns on the wall. So I think it's really special to have just some pieces that tell a story about my past. I think one of the main things I was looking for was a lot of natural light coming from a smaller, darker apartment in New York. That was really important to me. The house also has a backyard, which was not necessarily on the bucket list, but is a huge added bonus. And I don't think I could live without outdoor space now. The other thing that's kind of quirky, but in my bedroom in New York, the bed was up against the wall, and so every morning making my bed, I would not be able to go to the other side to make it. And I kept thinking, I can't wait until the day that I have a bed where I can walk to both sides and make it, and now I can do that. Coming here, I brought some of the things that meant a lot to me, like the art, which we will see, and then I bought some new pieces that kind of worked with the space. I think it was very organic. I didn't necessarily have a way that I was hoping the home would look. It was more just, let's fill it with things that I like, that complemented pieces I already had. So it's been really exciting. I think to me, design is always kind of a work in progress. So I will do something and like it for a month and then need to change it up. But it's been really exciting kind of defining my personal style now in more of a home versus living with a roommate where you're kind of confined to one room of your style and then the rest of the home kind of being like a mishmash of everyone else's items. So I'm really lucky and I feel very grateful that I get to have the entire space to kind of design and play around with. Okay, so now we're in the living room. I love how these 2 spaces kind of are connected but also separate. So over here we have a print. I actually found this print on the street in New York. It was literally someone was throwing it away and I thought it was really cool. And I just think that saying one man's trash, another man's treasure really rang true, especially with this. I love it. I've had it for years. Very cool. Something else, I bought this pot when I was in Round Top, Texas on a work trip, and I paid like $100 at FedEx for them to bubble wrap it and ship it back to me. So again, I just think it's important to find pieces that tell a story, that spark an emotion when you look at them, because that's very special to me and reminds me of a different time in life. And then I just have a big mirror on the wall. It kind of bounces the light off and makes the room feel bigger. So love that. We have a CB2 couch here. I used to have an L-shaped sofa, but I just didn't really like the layout of the living room at that time. So I got this, which again, it kind of separates these 2 rooms, which I love. And then I have a layered rug situation happening. So we have a jute rug and then a Moroccan kind of tassel-y rug on top to add some warmth. And then something that I love in the living room, I made this bowl in my pottery class, and then I filled it with these rocks that I got on a trip when I was in Barcelona at the beach. So a lot of things in my house are from somewhere else that just tell a story about my life and places I've been. I actually bought these chairs before I bought the couch. I just wanted something that had texture. I love that they're kind of Sherpa-y, and really no one ever sits in them, but that's okay. They look nice and I think they're cool. So that's fun. In this corner here, we just have a little rattan lamp. I had wanted this for a really long time and I didn't buy it. And I think if you keep thinking about something for a really long time, that is kind of your sign to pull the trigger versus impulse buying. So after like 3 months of thinking about it, I bought it and I love it. And I have some just books down there. I just really like books. I think they add a lot to a space, and I think it's especially cool if they tell a story. So I've got those. We have this lovely ficus. It's great and get some light there. And then here we just have my TV cabinet. This is actually huge underneath, so I keep a lot of like spare linens and things under there. And then I've just decorated it with some coffee table books that I've collected over time, along with a ton of matches from my favorite places in New York, LA, all over, and then some sand dollars that I found on a beach trip. So again, I just kind of collect these things and then display them all over my house. The other thing that I did in the living room was I installed these sconces. I literally just drilled a hole into the wall and connected them. They're not hardwired, so I have a battery operated light bulb. And I just think they're great for movie nights. My mom is she wouldn't call herself an interior designer, but she has that kind of trait. She owns a home interior store in North Carolina. So I think growing up, she would always drag me to Round Top, Texas, to antique markets. We would go on road trips and find a lot of quirky things that at that time I thought were super strange. But that definitely is a trait that I now emulate, where I'm always looking for those kinds of things or picking things that are a little bit harder to find that kind of mean something to you. So that was definitely and has been an inspiration. A lot of times I'll buy something or I'll be in a store and send her a photo and say, would this look good in my house? If I think it will, she might say no, and vice versa. But it's kind of always fun to have someone else to bounce ideas off of. And whenever I go back to North Carolina, I do go in her store and steal a lot of things that you'll see around the house. But yeah, I think the inspiration for designing this was just playing off of the California aesthetic almost. Again, there's like a lot of natural light, so I feel like I didn't really have to do much with decor, because once 5 o'clock hits, even in the morning, the light floods in and it's so beautiful, and it would be beautiful on a blank wall. Okay, so we're now leaving the living room and entering the bedroom. The bedroom is one of my favorite places in the house because it's just so serene. I really have very minimal color in here because when I go to bed, I just like it to be crisp and white, and I just love how that kind of almost feels like a hotel in a way. So I just have this really lovely linen bedspread and pillows that just feel like a cloud. It's wonderful. And then I have this print. People ask me about it all the time. I bought this print on Facebook Marketplace. It was like $10. And then come to find out, it's by a lovely artist who I became friends with on the internet post buying this. But it's an original canvas and it's just really cool and kind of again tells a story. I feel like everything tells a story in here. My nightstands were also from Facebook Marketplace. I bought them when I moved in just because I needed something, and I ended up keeping them. I love them. I love like the kind of black and white and blue color story that I have going on. And above the bed, I have this kind of small print. It's a poem from a former colleague, her husband. And it just says winter dreams of summer love, and I don't know, I love how that sounds, so I hung that there. And I kind of like how it's small against the big wall. Again, just feels really nice. On the bed, I think having a duvet cover is really the most elite bedding you could possibly have. This one is actually from my mom's home store, which is wonderful. I think I might have shoplifted that, so Mom, if you're watching, apologies. But it's just very comfortable. Linen gets softer with each wash, and going to bed every night just feels like I'm sleeping on a cloud. And I love having this really long body pillow. It just adds a bit more flair to the bed. but the colors are still muted, which is nice to kind of keep in line with this very neutral vibe that I have going on. The other thing that I love are these sort of sheer curtains that I have. So I'm still getting all of the natural light. I'm just not seeing completely outside, which is really nice. My favorite space in the home is definitely a toss-up between my bedroom or my kitchen. I love my bedroom because it's pretty serene in there, and every morning the sun rises and I get just such a beautiful sunrise kind of picture of the leaves playing on my closet door, which I just absolutely love waking up to. But my kitchen, which people on the internet kind of obsess over, is very beautiful. It has original tile from the 1920s and it's yellow and it's light all day long, and it's a really special place. And I love to cook, so I love being in the kitchen. Quick pit stop here. Nothing crazy to talk about, but I do love the beadboarding on the bathroom. It kind of reminds me of being back home in North Carolina in the summer. There's just something really nostalgic about it. And right before I moved in, the bathroom was remodeled. So we have brand new tile in the shower and on the floors, which is amazing because it is such an old house. So it's nice to kind of have a few features that have been kind of kept up with the times. And I think tile can really make or break a space, so it's nice that this is sort of a bit more new and modern. Okay, so now we've made it to the kitchen. This is arguably my and most people on the internet's most favorite space in the entire home. The tile is original from the 1920s, so that is just such a special detail that we have. It's also butter yellow, which everyone is kind of obsessing over right now. One thing I love about the kitchen, especially this one, is that I have this window here above the sink that I get to look at. So if I'm cooking or doing dishes, I have this beautiful view of my backyard. Coming from an apartment that was very dark, it's just really special to have a ton of natural light, especially doing something that takes time that I love, like cooking. I get to do it in such a beautiful space. Another thing that's special about the kitchen, when I moved in, there was nothing on the walls, and I actually built these shelves myself. So I went to Home Depot and had a piece of wood cut and came home. It's really not that special, but I think the shelves added a ton of character, and now I kind of get to display special things to me. So these bowls I made in my pottery class, and just some cookbooks that I love, but a fun little detail. And it doesn't necessarily cost a lot of money sometimes to make a space feel really great. So moving on, this print is by the same artist, Rose Liddell, who did the one in my bedroom. This was part of the like $15 Facebook Marketplace find. I just love it. It's really cute, and I love it when you walk in the front door, you get a straight shot of looking at the house rules. So that's that side of the kitchen. Coming over here, probably the most special piece in the kitchen and maybe the home is the stove. The stove was not original to the home, but it is an antique stove that kind of fits in with the vibe of the kitchen. People are very confused about how this works. So it's actually a gas stove, which is amazing. And then it just has this cover. So if I'm not cooking, that kind of acts as like a counter surface. Same with this is a little counter surface. And then we have the oven there. It's just such a cute feature. It has these little claw feet and it's yellow, and I love the charm of it. And then I have this sort of stainless steel table here with my caraway pans that I love. And then this print that I bought at an estate sale for $5, and I framed it. When I moved in, this was sort of hanging here, and initially I was going to take it off the ceiling because I didn't like it, but I've really fallen in love with it, and I love hanging my strainers here and my oven mitts that are very worn, and I probably need new ones. The other thing about the kitchen that's very special is the floor. So this is the original checkered linoleum floor from the 1920s. I think when I saw the listing photos of this property, seeing the floor really made it feel super special and unique, and that was kind of one of those things where I thought I really want to live here. We also have this area underneath the sink for storage. And something actually about the entire kitchen is there's a ton of storage in the built-ins, which we will look at, but I did add this little curtain. I think it's just so dainty and cute and kind of plays into that historical kitchen vibe without being cut off with a piece of wood. So it just adds to the charm. Something else I really love about the kitchen is the hardware on all of the cabinets. Because it was original to the home, it's not your typical knob. It's kind of this older little knob, but I just think they're so charming and sweet, and I love that. And I have a ton of storage up here as well as down there. I really don't even fill all of it. But this little built-in nook is very cute. I have another menu from a barbecue restaurant in Charleston where I went to college, my favorite restaurant, and a little coffee area. But I just think having this storage without compromising space is a really great feature of the home. A lot of the time I'll post pictures of my house on the internet, or people will come over and kind of ask to help style their homes or design advice that I could give. And I think piece of design advice that I receive that I really hold true is that if art or something you're buying means something to you or tells a story, then you'll never get tired of it. And I have really taken that into consideration when buying things and decorating my home. And a lot of things here tell a story or were from a place I traveled to or just have a bit more meaning. I think it's more important to find something that has meaning than just buying a lot of random stuff to fill a home, because you will get tired of it over time, and I don't think you can really define your personal style just by trying to buy a lot of things. So I think it's just really important to make sure that the items in your home have meaning to you. Okay, so now we're in the backyard patio situation. We've got this lovely sort of covered porch that you walk out onto. So I've got a table here, and then if you follow me back into the backyard, we have this wonderful open patio. I have a little herb garden here and a soaking tub for the hot summer days. And then I just put a rug and some outdoor furniture. I've got some tomatoes growing, but this area is just so special. I host friends out here. I sit out here in the afternoons, and I installed some string lights as well. So it's just such a fun area, and I feel very grateful to even have outdoor space, especially coming from New York. It's really just such a game changer. And it's very lush and private back here, which I love. I think home to me means somewhere that I can relax, I can have people over, somewhere that kind of feels like an outward extension of who I am. And at the end of the day, somewhere that I am excited to go home to, and somewhere that I'm excited to wake up in. Thanks so much for stopping by, Homeworthy. Come by anytime.
Hey there, Homeworthy. I'm Savannah. Welcome to my home in Houston, Texas. I can't wait to show you around. Come on in.
You're watching Homeworthy, where we believe every home has a story. If you're looking to make your own space more homeworthy, we've teamed up with Cherish, our go-to online destination for chic, one-of-a-kind finds, sourced from the world's most wonderful vendors.
Mercury drops are from an artist I found on Cherish.
Whether we're after a bold statement piece or the perfect finishing touch, Cherish has extraordinary items that leave a lasting impression.
This table I bought on Cherish from Berlin, and it has a little bit of it's a tray, and it is mid-century, and it's one of my favorite pieces.
It's where we find iconic looks to set homes apart.
I think many dealers would agree that Cherish is the absolute best.
So to support Homeworthy and discover amazing items from Cherish, scan the QR code or click on the link below to start shopping.
My name is Savannah K. Berry. I'm a lifestyle and home creator on the internet, and we are in the heart of Houston, Texas. I've always been in love with the charm of like early 90s rom-coms, practical magic, things with whimsy. We've always pictured ourselves in some type of bungalow or a Craftsman. So when we were looking for houses to rent in Houston, that was our #1 goal, and this was the perfect fit. The vision for the space was something colorful. I am really drawn to eclectic decor. More is more, anything whimsical. So that was my vision. As renters, we're not doing a ton of renovations. I hope my page on the internet is something that people look at that's super accessible and doable. So are DIYs. I mean, I'm on the internet looking at DIYs all the time and it's so inspiring, but I'm really turning our rental into something that is very us, and I don't think that requires a ton of renovations. Welcome to my living room. This is what you see right when you walk into our house, our beautiful grand fireplace. This was one of the first things we saw and completely fell in love. Before I show you guys our living room and our sitting area, I want to show you our foyer. This is just our little bench area. I found this on Facebook Marketplace. I think it's like old Pottery Barn. I love prints. So as we go throughout my house, you'll see that I am not afraid to mix and match plaid, stripes, quilted patterns. Really, it's kind of like almost scary, but it's totally fine. So I love plaid. To me, it's a neutral. Again, my thrift finds are my prized possessions. Anything that has a fun little saying, any cross stitching is my favorite thing ever. And of course, you're gonna see taper candles everywhere as well. It's giving Phantom of the Opera a little bit, but that's okay. This is our little hutch. I pictured this as a little bar area. Of course, it's really just storing wine at the moment. And we do have another bar that I will show you in a little bit. But this was an old dresser and we painted it white and then put in some mushroom wallpaper on the inside. And there are some lights up here that are just, stick-on lights that you can find at Walmart and put them in there and it makes it nice and fancy. Again, I love layering. I love finding big coffee table books and using that to add height and some texture and different compositions over in this little corner as well. So, and you can, my plants, they're everywhere as well. Okay, so we'll walk into the living room. This is our beautiful living room, cozy vibes. I think that if I had to describe it in one word, it's a mixture of like grandma core mixed with mid-century modern. I try to mix in these like really nice mid-century modern pieces with the cozy, eclectic, more is more decor. Speaking of renter friendly earlier, we don't use the fireplace, but I added these peel and stick tiles to add some character. Just another example of like what you can do here and there. Little touches of character are so fun, and that's like what makes our home us. I love art books. One of my favorite photographers, Sally Mann. So I have her book, and it's all about the Deep South, and then Jeff Winningham is a Houston photographer as well. So I love having my favorite artists all over the house. And a call back to my husband's grandpa, Elton. He has his art books all over our house as well. Do not underestimate art books and going to the thrift and finding old cookbooks and stuff to decorate with. That's like my favorite thing to do ever. These chairs were a Facebook Marketplace find again. I love finding fun covers on Etsy and Amazon and then just buying cheap inserts. A super affordable way to have pillows in your home. Something about growing up is you realize pillows and rugs are so expensive. So I do my best to be a little thrifty in that department. Our couch is West Elm. We've had it for years. I will say that's like the one thing that I always kind of tell people when they're first moving into somewhere. Get something that you will have forever, those staple pieces, and then you can build around that. We've had these West Elm pieces for about 8 years, the coffee table and the couch, and I think we'll have them for another 8 years, to be honest. So the rug is Ruggable. I am Ruggable's #1 fan. It's like a 9x12 Ruggable, so it's hardwood in here. We want it to feel super cozy. We like to make a huge mega bed in here for the projector and turn all the lights off and have a cozy movie night. So we have our little setup here, and we'll just move the coffee table and make it a big cozy sleepover. That's like my favorite thing ever. I can show you guys little details on my coffee table if you want. I love sour candy, so I will have it everywhere all the time. I just thrifted this. If you are from Texas or know about Texas thrifting, you have heard about Round Top, Texas. It's a huge antique fair that you go to every now and then they have big pop-ups. And I just thrifted this amazing marble dice collection. I'm like so happy about this. I think it was like $60, which I think is a score. The gingham tray, this is Addison Ross. They're based out of London. They make a bunch of beautiful, colorful pieces. I have a few more of their things in the kitchen that I will show you. And it's a fun way to just add another vignette on your coffee table. You can put this on your couch, similar to like I have here. This is a piece by Modern Muse by Lizzie. She makes butterfly art and she crafts them out of old vintage Vogue magazines and makes these beautiful pieces. And she and I just were together on Round Top and I found that from her and I'm so excited to have it in my space. Yeah, again, you'll see 1,000 different colors, 1,000 different patterns. That is my favorite thing to do ever. There are no rules, not in this house. I switch these out all the time and I'll put these in the nook and then I'll bring other things from the nook into here. But these are my favorite pillows. Again, I try to balance the grandma core a little bit with the modern, but you'll just notice that I love a pastel. I love mix and matching. I don't know. I love anything soft that you want to just lay down and never get up. So to me, that's quilted things. Like that just is very nostalgic to me. So it just reminds me of like growing up in the South and my grandma and everything. So I try to bring that into our home. When I'm thinking about art around our house, that's another thing that can get really expensive. So I love going to IKEA and getting their frames and then going on Etsy, finding artists there, and then printing out their art myself and framing it. So that's like my hack as well to fill in your spaces, like go thrifting and then go on Etsy and like find cool artists. And a lot of times you can just buy their prints for like $8. I try to make sure that they're actual artists and that I'm actually supporting people who are making the art. So just keep an eye out for that. But yeah, that was one of the first things we hung up. And then, I mean, it's such a grand fireplace. So, and the mantle is so big, it's almost overwhelming. But people are like, how do you fill your space so beautifully? I'm like, we have lived here for almost 2 years. So just have patience. A lot of times the homes you're seeing on the internet, they've lived there for 5 years, 10 years. So it takes time to curate a home like Nancy Meyers. I think I can't credit the person on the internet who said this, but those homes have been curated for years and years and years. Diane Keaton is an author in that one movie, and she has just curated books and memories and movies. That's what fills your home and makes it beautiful, makes it Nancy Meyers, makes it you. I think some renter-friendly hacks, I mean, it goes without saying, of course, your landlord, you can ask your landlord what you're allowed to do, but I'm not afraid of a little color. So we have a striped wall in our living room. It's the first thing you see. And I think just thinking about where you can add some character into your rental home, whether that's paint, wallpaper, stick-on tiles. I always love bringing life to the space with fruit and flowers and plants. I think that's something that people forget a lot of the time. Like you can have a rug and furniture and it can be expensive and it all matches perfectly. But I think that my style is curated in the way that everything goes together, but there's life put into it by things that I find at the thrift store, bringing plants in, like I said, and always just having some touches of whimsy anywhere I can squeeze it in. That's the goal. So I don't know if that counts as like a renter-friendly hack, but I think that is just my motto for how I curate a space. I wanted to show y'all my makeshift nook here where I do my work. I do a lot of editing. I do a lot of dream boarding. So like I'll sit here and just make my vision board. There's a giant burger on it. So this is where I like to do a lot of my Pinteresting and dreaming up videos for the internet. And I have some pieces up here. Again, these are IKEA frames. Don't underestimate IKEA for frames. This is Morgan Harris Design on Etsy. She makes these really cute breakfast cafe vignettes. So that's very my vibe on the internet. I make a lot of breakfast vlogs and coffee. So I found her and I was like, okay, I have to put her right here in my kitchen and my nook so that I can stay inspired. My personal style, I'm just gonna harp on this again and again, but I'm a 90s baby. I grew up watching Nora Ephron, Nancy Meyers. Of course, the internet is in love with that aesthetic as well, and I can't deny that probably has affected my style. I love thrifting. I love looking at Pinterest and looking at places from all around the world and seeing how I can bring little touches like that to my home. So going to antique shops, going to places like Round Top, Texas, where it's the biggest antique fest in the world, that's where my vision is birthed, and finding unique pieces is how I find my vision and just throw it together. It's like throwing paint on a canvas and just seeing where it takes you. Right off of my desk nook is my kitchen, so I'll bring you guys in here. Welcome to my kitchen. This is my favorite part of the house. I probably will say that again about another room, but it's okay. We loved the tall ceilings in here, and immediately when we saw this kitchen, we pictured ourselves making dinner, hosting. It's super open concept. There wasn't an island here. We thrifted this rolly island. We didn't have this for a long time, and there was just this like weird open space. So I love using this for charcuterie and just an extra counter space. The kitchen window, I'm obsessed with. These cafe curtains are so fun. They're from Anthropologie. And I wanted to create a moment here. This is where I film a lot of my mornings. I make tea and I water my plants and I show people just a nice, lovely, comfortable morning to offer up just a cozy vibe. I found these floating shelves on Etsy. Then I painted them with just acrylic paint to add some color. Again, you're gonna see stripes and different things like that all over my house. I was so inspired. These are one of the first things that I thrifted for the house. I found this entire set at an antique shop in Houston. Shout out to the Guild. I found this pan-painted canister set for $13, okay? That inspired me to really go in with character to create different corners on my countertops that tell a story. Does that sound ridiculous? Yeah, but it's true. Like every little corner of your house can catch someone's eye and inspire something, especially in the kitchen. So you have so much to work with. This is another piece by Addison Ross. And again, just creating different layers and little corners that are just colorful and beautiful is my favorite thing to do in my kitchen so much. I got so inspired on TikTok by creators like Talia in New York and Casey Lyons. They're those types of girlies on the internet who brought color into my life, and I was like, oh my gosh, okay, this is interesting and I can run with that. And it was just so inspiring. I'm just like the #1 fan of getting on the internet and using it as like a positive tool in your life. Okay, and I wanna show y'all my coffee bar situation. This is where, if we're having some type of event, I'll set up pitchers of drinks, and this is where I envision people to just come and go, make themselves coffee. I love this ceramic ice bucket. Is it a real ice bucket? I don't know, but it's beautiful. Another amazing thrift find that I found in Texas, in the Round Top area. So I just want to keep shouting that out because it is just my absolute dream to be there. These are my favorite wine glasses. They're by Estelle Colored Glass. These are such a staple in my hosting and in my cabinet and in my every single day life. I love it. Never be afraid to use your fancy glassware. That's someone said that somewhere, and I just completely agree. Bring out your crystal, bring out your wine glasses. You'll see more when I show you my kitchen nook. We got into espresso this year. Of course, getting into espresso means you're making at-home lattes, you're making cold foam. I love these Anthropologie espresso cups. I think they're so fun. Another example of just all the color everywhere. I love it. And of course, we have to have our drip coffee. So it's nothing too fancy. We keep it pretty casual over here. Our patio, our kitchen nook, that is where we walked in and toured the house, and I just That's So Ravened an entire life here with our friends. And so that's really important to me and my husband. I want to be the house that people want to go to and feel safe and comfortable in. I want people to walk in and just like, oh, it's so cozy in here. So that is like, people are like, what are your hobbies? I like to host. I like taper candles and I like to host, and I like cheese and I like wine. So this house had that written all over it to me, and I could just see us living here and hosting, and yeah. Okay, now I really want to show y'all my kitchen nook. Our little kitchen nook, there are windows all around here. This was so jaw-dropping for me when we toured the house. There are these custom benches with storage in them, and there's just so much seating in here, and you can really fit a big table in here for hosting, for dinner parties. I just had some friends over for like a Mediterranean style dinner. It was so fun. I put another bench in here, so it's just very casual dining experience. I love to work in here and have breakfast, edit photos, do whatever. I found a lot of these pillows on Etsy. Again, it's that same process where you can find cheap inserts and then just buy pillow covers. So that's like that's a good tip. And then I found these custom cushions on Etsy as well. Eventually I wanna have curtains and do it all up, but for now it is perfect to me. And to get into the details of the place settings, I have these Furbish quilted placemats that are so beautiful. I think they're pretty year-round. I had them out during Christmas and it was really beautiful and festive, and I think that it still works. I love reaching for china at the antique shops. So I have a really vast collection of different patterns and colors. I believe this is La Petite Fleur. It is a Villeroy and Boch porcelain line that I found at a thrift store, and then my aunt actually completed the collection for me because she didn't want hers anymore, so I happily took it. A lot of this is thrifted again, just different colored glass is so fun to use on your tablescapes. This table linen is Golden Yarrow Goods. They reached out to me and sent me this beautiful tablecloth. So I cherish these types of tablescapes. I just love it so much. It's like my favorite thing to do. I love to do my own flowers, of course. I love going down to my local H-E-B. If you know, you know. This vase is Anthropologie as well. So it's just so sweet, and again, that whimsy that I always reach for. So this is another Morgan Harris design print that I just framed. And then I reach for those really fun, colorful ceramics all the time. And I thought it'd be fun to just hang them on the wall. I think a go-to hosting tip for me is going in with a theme of some sort. I love hosting a dinner party, whether it's just a color or, you know, an aesthetic like Practical Magic. Another hosting tip is don't be afraid to put yourself out of your comfort zone with food. I was always really in the mindset that I'm not a chef. I can't cook for people. Like, that is so insane. But thrift your cookbooks, get inspired, play around with charcuterie. It's so fun, and I think that's pretty accessible. I don't think it needs to be this sit-down formal dinner. I love question card games. That's like my favorite thing to do with my friends. We just sit around and ask each other really scary, deep questions and then start crying. No, I'm just kidding. Usually it's very lighthearted, and we love games. We love Yahtzee and trivia. So if you come over for drinks at my house, usually it will look something like that. All right, and next I want to show you guys our bedroom. Welcome to our cozy bedroom. This is our beautiful bed. We are Piglet in Bed's #1 fan. They have so many options online to customize your bedding set. It's all linen. It's so beautiful. When we toured the house, something that stuck out to us was the ceilings and the crown molding in here. It just feels so grand and beautiful. And these windows, I love the shutters. We can look out to our patio every morning. It's just such a dream. This is a thrifted chair, Facebook Marketplace. Again, I picked it up for less than $100 just to create a little reading nook here added some cozy cushions, and I hung some art. You know, we have some Slim Aarons up there, a super classic photograph, very famous. And then some artwork from Match South. So I think that they're Texas themed matchbooks in a frame. So super fun. I'm not a DIYer really, but we found this dresser on Facebook Marketplace for like 70 bucks. And I slapped some Kelly Green paint on there, changed the hardware. It's just like amazing. I don't know. I love it so much. A lot of times too, when you buy those older dressers, there's like more storage. They're just bigger and bulkier. They're not as flimsy. So I highly recommend perusing the internet. Finding your big pieces sometimes is better at the thrift or online or what have you. So our side tables and our artwork up here by our bed. Super simple, nothing crazy. We have these pretty rattan lamps and I love gingham. So I found these at Target. Again, Target. These are our wedding photos. We got married in October of 2021. We've been together, my husband and I, Lewis, for about a decade. I love my little chicken. He is the star of the show. His name is Fiddle. I bought him in Bastrop, Texas at an art fair. And something really fun about my room is my chaotic closet. I'll show you guys over this way. Just don't pay attention to the mess, really. This is irrelevant. But I do love these built-ins and the lighting here. It's just super beautiful. I feel like a fabulous grown-up woman with my closet. I love displaying my jewelry and my shoe boxes and stuff. So just wanted to give y'all a peek into my little closet. The thing I love most about our home is the historic charm. We're in a historic neighborhood. The people that live in this neighborhood have been here for a long time. So we feel very lucky that we're able to experience something like this, whether it's temporary or not. This home has brought so much to our life, and there's original hardwood floors, there's a clawfoot bathtub. If we're talking visually, it's definitely the old historic charm of the house that I love. Emotionally, I love this house because of the people in it and the memories that we've made in it and the connections I've made on the internet because of it. It has been like a huge expression of my creativity. For some reason, being in a historical, beautiful home with so much history has completely unlocked my creativity, and deciding to share it on the internet has unlocked something else with those types of connections, and it like completely changed my life. All right, and I want to show you guys our bathroom next. Welcome to our beautiful bathroom. I would say the main feature, of course, is the clawfoot tub that we do use all the time. And of course, the stained glass mirror. I cannot claim any of this bathroom as my creation, but I do claim it as my beautiful, comfortable oasis that I have added touches to. So of course, I have our bath caddy and our really cozy towels. I love going to World Market for towels and rugs specifically. This bathroom is basically just a World Market, like showroom. So linens are World Market. We have some thrifted artwork here as well. Every now and then I reach for some faux flowers, usually if they look really, really good. And I do think this is an exception. So you'll see some faux flowers, but mostly real around my house. I have some of my husband's grandfather's artwork up here that we love to look at while we're getting ready. Again, we want to incorporate that type of art all around the house. And then just our hamper, and then to the right here is our shower. Something that gives a home or our home a soul is the art in it. We're not like super fancy art curators, but my husband and I both have grandpas who were painters. So one of the first things we did when we moved in here was hang their art. Specifically, my husband's grandfather, he was a painter in Louisiana, Lake Charles, landscape and nature. So stuff like that, bringing our history into the home that already has so much history, feels so special. And obviously, when it comes to art too, it can be something really simple like a photo booth picture framed. And that type of stuff, those little details that maybe you skip Home Goods and you do go to the thrift store and you find a vintage frame. I think those little things, buying things with stories and bringing them into your house, does make a really big difference. And like I said earlier, your home is what you make it. I like talk to my house a little bit. Like, I think it's a gratitude thing, and there probably is like a special term for it, but being grateful for your home and your clothes every day, I think breathes life into your house without you even knowing it. Right off of our kitchen nook is our beautiful patio. We have this grand pergola, and we love to host out here. This is where I started making my happy hour videos this time last year, and I showed the internet how to make a paloma, and people really liked it, so I kept going. So you will find me out here all the time. We have this vintage bamboo table it's seen better days, but that's okay. And then through here, we just have our garden area. We hung string lights. It's really pretty at night, or in the morning you wake up and the birds are singing. I love it out here. I have a little bit of a green thumb. I'm working on it. I'm not Martha Stewart, but you know, who's to say we can't get there? We have another table out here that we like to do happy hours on, have breakfast. Yeah, I don't know. I just have kind of random plants everywhere. It's a perfect time in Houston right now to play around with gardening and trying new things out. So I'm definitely in my gardening era. And we have our little fire pit area as well right off of the bedroom. So yeah, that's my patio. I love it out here so much. My career path was always creative. I grew up a creative kid. I was always making movies with my friends, and I fell in love with photography at a young age. And I majored in photography. I have a Bachelor of Fine Arts in Photography and Digital Media from the University of Houston. And I didn't know anything else. That's what I had to do. I had to major in photography. It was my one great love, being creative. I am a portrait photographer. My thesis was about my family living in the pandemic, at home with them and documenting their lives. That was so, so important to me, to major in photography and be a creative. And then it turned into a business where I photograph families and do portraits as a professional. I've been doing that for 10 years, and then we moved into this bungalow and I started making videos on the internet about my martinis and about my home. And it just kind of snowballed into even more of a creative life. And I am lucky every single day that I have the opportunity to share my creativity and my home and my life on the internet, and people like it and respond to it, and they inspire me just as much as I inspire them. And the other creators who I'm so inspired by on the internet have completely changed my life and inspired me to create and show my home on the internet. All right, and I have one more place to show you guys. It's our shared office and guest room. Welcome to our home office. Come on in. This is Monty. He lives here as well, and he's my second born child, of course. We found this trundle bed on Wayfair, actually. We wanted to make sure we had somewhere for people to stay over, our in-laws. I have a ton of sisters, so you can just pull this bed out and it's super cozy. Again, sleepover vibes is always the vibe. The shutters in here are my favorite. We also have the crown molding and the super tall ceilings in here. And then to my left here is a really good collection of different art from Japan and from Lewis's grandfather as well. This is actually him, Elton John Louvier. And this is just really good examples of his art and little pockets of like who we are as people. So that's it. The word home means a million different things to me. I was fortunate enough to grow up in a very happy home, and that is thanks to my parents. My mom, she would throw the windows open, blast the chicks, clean the house, and we would dance on the coffee table, and we would go to Goodwill. And I think that I'm just emulating that completely within my own life. My parents built a comfortable, happy home for me and my sisters without really having a guideline to do that. So they created that magic for us, and I think that's what home means to me, is just completely emulating that and bringing everything you love, your movies, your books, your greatest inspirations, which could be your family or your grandfathers, whatever, I think that's what home means to me. I never want the party to end when my friends come over, but I just never want the party to end. I want to go to sleep with the sound of people in my house still. So that is what home means to me, is footsteps and my friends and my sisters and my cats and original hardwood floors.
Homeworthy, that was so fun showing you around my Houston home. I think my girls are almost here for happy hour, so you gotta go. Bye!
Thanks for watching. Be sure to go to homeworthy.com for exclusive content, shopping guides, and so much more.